Alright guys, welcome back. We are playing Higurashi When They Cry, Chapter 3, Tatarigoroshi. Last time, we killed Teppei. We sure did kill Teppei. Fuck. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Keiichi, okay. We gotta take this from, like, the beginning here. What's gonna happen with Keiichi, right? What are our thoughts about Keiichi? So we killed Teppei because this is loud. He killed Teppei because he wants to, return things to the way they were before. That is going to be impossible, right? That won't happen. There's literally no way. Issue number 1, right? From this tip, we know, of course, that the cops, our beloved Oishi, were already we're already looking at Teppei. They already thought Teppei was going to be the victim of the curse. So, Keiichi's first goal in his murder of Teppei, about thinking that no one would even know that he died, right? Because people would just assume that he ran away. That's not going to work, because the cops are going to know that he's gone, right? The cops aren't just going to assume he ran away. They're going to want to, know where he is, right? To confirm that he wasn't a victim of the curse. So they're going to know Teppei's dead. They're probably going to find Teppei's body. How would that lead them to Keiichi? I don't know. Would they have... because Keiichi has been acting like a lunatic the past few days. So, if they did any basic questioning of probably a lot of people, I could imagine it leading them to Keiichi, right? That would be horrible. But that will probably happen. Keiichi himself. He just killed someone. And Keiichi doesn't have a very good history of, dealing with things. So, I don't think it's going to go too well for him, mentally. Here's what I think. For a little bit, he's gonna act like everything's fine. I think we're gonna start this next chapter. He's gonna be, the first few lines are gonna be him talking about how, normal he feels and how great everything is. But I think the cracks are gonna show up really quickly, and it is gonna be impossible for him to act normal at all. And things are gonna be terrible. Do I see him in any sense wanting to turn himself in or anything? Probably not. I think that would be, crazy. I don't think he's gonna do that. It depends on what Satoko's reaction is, because that's really what this all hinges on, is what Satoko is going to think about her uncle being gone. Because, we talked about this before, about how, she... with the way she was viewing all of this with Teppei, thinking it's a trial, in order for Satoshi to come back, what is she gonna think now that he's gone, I don't know. Obviously, and, Teppei kind of deserved to die. I don't really miss Teppei at all. I don't, I just think the effects of murdering someone aren't going to be good on Keiichi, right? Especially with, he was already in the last fucking episode, when he was thinking all that shit about how he has to kill Takano, too. God, I don't know, and not even to talk about Takano. I don't know what to think about Takano at all. She has Tomatake's bike, so is it true that she has been behind Tomatake's murder? Maybe, right? So what, she's been behind Tomatake's murder or knows something about it, and then she's been faking her own disappearance/death afterwards, right? Why? I don't know, right? Is it some weird reenactment of this weird shit with... Maybe? Could Takano have been behind all of it from the very beginning? I don't really see how, that would be crazy, right? How would she have been behind, Satoko's parents' disappearance, or what Satoshi did to his aunt, or... Rika's parents dying, that doesn't make any sense. So if my idea is that Takano is somehow deciding to try and reenact this stuff and do it herself, why would she just do it this year, if the previous years had nothing to do with her? Unless they did have something to do with her, because she does work at the same place that Dr. Irie works, and Irie is related to the syringe, and the syringe seems to be very much related to this whole thing that makes you go crazy, right? Either a cure or something that's supposed to do something to the people who are going crazy, I just don't know. I just don't know. I don't know. Okay, let's continue, I guess, that I talk about everything. The only other thing is, the only people I could imagine... The people who are going to immediately be suspicious if they know about Teppei's disappearance or even death, if the cops, look into it that much and they find out he's dead. Keiichi's friends, right? Mion and Rina and Rika and Satoko, they're going to know it was Keiichi, right? I guess they won't immediately just, know it was him, but they're really going to think it's him. God, okay. Fuck. At first, I thought it was a dream. I know, right? It has to feel so fucking unreal, you know, what he did last night. Like, you ever had dreams like that with, like, I mean, everyone has, I think, where, like, horrible, crazy shit happens, and then you wake up and it's like, oh my god, thank god it was a dream. I had a dream like that, like, 2 nights ago. I had a dream that my car, like, I don't even know what it was. There was just something horribly wrong with my car, and I had to pay $10,000 to get it fixed. Even though my car is worth less than $10,000. And it was just like this horrible fucking dream that I had to pay all this goddamn money to fix my car. And when I woke up, I was so happy it was a dream. Um, and yeah, for Keiichi, but for Keiichi, it wasn't a fucking dream. Like, that's just, oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ. I was staring at this strange sheet, not really understanding what it was. That was all. I didn't go after it, nor did I ridicule it. The fact was that the boring view was the ceiling of my own room, but I didn't realize that for a fairly long time. No color, yes. I thought I had been dreaming, but I had actually been staring at the ceiling the whole time. The color's back. Lethargy induced by the voices of the cicadas. Even after I realized I was awake, I couldn't draw forth the energy to set up. Even his parents, like, were his parents suspicious at all about everything I could see, everything I could hear, everything was like a television broadcast that had already ended. It was hot. So hot I could choke on the heat. My back was moist with night sweats, and it felt gross. Unable to endure it any longer, I tossed in my futon, and finally, blood started coursing through my brain. I lazily recalled the long day I had yesterday. The reality, as I lay here listening to the voices of the cicadas, and yesterday, so different from it. It's... God, your days are back, right, Keiichi? In order to kill Satoko's uncle, I had rehearsed, formulated a plan, and dug a hole. It was very hot, and I was tired, wasn't I? And when evening came, I went to school and called him out on the phone. Now, what are our the issues that Keiichi left at the crime scene, right? The other shovel, right? He didn't grab the other shovel. The second shovel is still out there. The first hole, he didn't do anything with the first hole, right? That hole was just still there. And the lantern, right? Didn't he brought a lantern out there, and then when he ran into Takano, he didn't have the lantern anymore. What did he do with the lantern that he brought out there? An evening came, I went to school and called him out on the phone. I panicked for a moment when he asked where the police station was, but it worked out. And then I awaited him and swooped down. It's like he has to run through all of the events of what happened because it feels so fucking, like, crazy, like it didn't happen, you know what I mean? Like, he has to convince himself it wasn't a dream. I couldn't remember anymore what sort of emotions I'd let control my body. Not good ones. In any case, it didn't go smoothly, but I did it. It was very hard to dig the hole for his body. That feel of rain pelting down on me. I don't think I'll ever forget it. The rain, the mud, and the sprays of blood. And obviously the fact that it rained too is like, it's like a pretty typical like storytelling thing, right? To have like weather be representative of like emotions and like, you know, stuff going on in the story, right? But of course, obviously too, the fact that it rained when it never has rained on with Tanagashi before, it just really feels like what Keiichi did here is just so... It's really going to be impactful, I think, to stuff. I didn't read that, did I? The rain, the mud, and the sprays of blood. The sensation of floundering in a swamp. When I met Takano-san on the way home, that wasn't good, no matter how I interpreted it. No, you guys didn't meet each other. Remember, you guys never... Yeah, come on. You gotta honor your pact with each other. You guys didn't meet each other. It was the most misfortunate and uncalculated thing that had happened that night. Everything would have been perfect if only I hadn't encountered her. Ah. I was just riding my bike, with my shovel in one hand, through the downpour, utterly soaked. There was no way someone could surmise I was a murderer burying a body just from that information. But if anyone would do it, it is Takano, right? Like, she would at least suspect it, you know? But I don't think she would ever go to the cops. Like, she wouldn't... I think Takano knowing doesn't matter unless Takano was the crazy mastermind behind, like, a bunch of weird shit going on, and, like, you know, she's gonna, I don't know, go pin you down to dissect you, right? Like, I guess that would be my biggest worry with Takano, right? I don't know. Now that I was thinking calmly, napping under the morning sun, that's what I thought. Still, the more I think about Takano-san's eyes, it seemed like she understood. Takano-san, she knew. Yeah, that I'd killed someone, buried them, and that I'd been on my way home, exhausted. Takano-san wouldn't gain anything from selling me out to the police, but that didn't mean I could feel at ease. You think? I crossed such a bridge to get my tranquil life back. I'm also worried, I guess, that Keiichi could just lose his mind completely, right? Because again, if at this point I literally don't know what to think anymore about like Keiichi's mindset and what's driving his actions, I have no fucking clue. Like, because he had the steps behind him again. He had the thing he couldn't turn around and face behind him again. You know, um, which is just like Onikashi, right? But here are the questions. Here are the two questions, right? The thing being behind you, the footsteps, right? Is that just a Keiichi thing? Or is that related to the thing that makes you go crazy, right? And by that I mean, the thing that makes you go crazy is very much related to, like, the character's emotions, right? Like, it seems like for Keiichi, it made him go crazy in Onikashi. And his emotions about feeling like he doesn't fit in and, like, other stuff, like, went insane, and that's what led to the events of Onikashi, right? In Watanagashi, Shion goes crazy. Her feelings of being, like, the outcast from her family, her relationship with Mion on that front, all of that stuff. Those emotions were almost, like, amplified, and she went fucking crazy and killed everyone, right? Also, potentially, her potential relationship with Satoshi and all that stuff, right? That could be the reason why she decided to kill Satoko, went on that crazy shit. You know, there are lots of reasons Shion went crazy, like she could have. You know what I mean? Um, so the footsteps that Keiichi keeps seeing behind him, that he keeps hearing behind him, the thing that he can't face behind him, right? The idea of it just kind of boiling it down to something behind Keiichi that he doesn't want to turn around and face. That feels like such a personal thing to him, right? Like, just going at, just like vaguely, just from like a story writing perspective, right? The idea that Keiichi has something in his past he doesn't want to turn around and face, right? And that being what the footsteps are potentially representative of, right? Um, so in that sense, it would mean that the footsteps and that is like more of a Keiichi thing, right? That it's representative of something in Keiichi's past that he doesn't want to turn around and face, and it's not like a side effect of this weird thing that makes you go crazy, curse stuff, right? Um, and it would be more personal to Keiichi himself, right? And in the last chapter, or I mean, in the last like sub chapter, in the last episode, right? When the thing was behind him, and all that crazy shit was going on. Um, it could be that stuff in Onikashi was making him think about whatever this thing is that's following him, this thing he doesn't want to turn around and face. Similarly to stuff in this chapter, making it also come up for him, right? Like, I hope you understand what I mean here. It's something in Keiichi's mind, something he doesn't want to turn around and face. These events are, like, reminding him of it or making him think of it or something, right? And that's what the thing behind him is representative of, right? And it's actually separate from the shit that makes you go crazy. Now, the only reason why, literally the only counter evidence to that I see at this point is Shion in Watanagashi, during one of the phone calls with Keiichi, when she was going crazy. She was telling Keiichi that she felt like she had been, like, being watched all the time lately, or that she felt like people were following her, or something like that, right? So that obviously makes it seem like to me that a crazy paranoia and feeling like you're being stalked is part of the shit that makes you go crazy, right? It feels like Shion was being affected by that too, just like Keiichi was in Onikashi. And obviously that kind of goes along with the thing that's following you, right? So the thing that's following you in that sense, if Shion was experiencing it too, just based off that one line, and it's like, maybe, then it would of course mean that the thing following you is tied to the thing that makes you go crazy, if Shion was experiencing it too. And that means, in this chapter, Keiichi is also being affected by it right now. I don't know which way to think of it, right? Both of those options make sense to me, right? Because it would be a red hair, it would be an intentional misdirect and intentional red herring by the author, um, to have the thing that follows you come back up in this chapter, despite Keiichi not being affected by the shit that makes you go crazy, right? The author would be doing that on purpose, right? Because it would be something actually personal to Keiichi, and the author would be tricking you, trying to make you think that Keiichi's going crazy again, like he was in Onikashi, right? Which it makes sense, right? Like, that's a very, very possible thing, right? Or this could be an intentional hint from the author, right? For, like, people who didn't realize what was going on in Onikashi, to, like, make you realize that this is what's happening to Keiichi now. Like, this could be, and I don't know which way to think of it, you know? I have no fucking idea. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Um, okay. I don't know. I don't know which way to think of it. Because of course, if we're saying that the shit that makes you go crazy is almost like, not that it's like activated by your emotions or something, but I guess you almost could say it is. But every character in the story has such strong emotions about a whole bunch of things that it's hard to say. Like, then in that case, who gets chosen for the shit that makes you go crazy, right? Why would it only affect one person every time? If it is somehow activated by the person having really strong emotions and then they start going insane or whatever and killing people because of it, then of course Keiichi fits that in this chapter, right? Because he's, all this shit about wanting to murder Teppei and his feelings about Satoko and powerlessness and all of that. And in this case, like, he lashed out and did this crazy shit to Teppei, which pretty much is like an extreme version of those emotions he was feeling. Just like all the crazy shit Shion did in Watanagashi and Keiichi and Onikashi, right? Deciding to kill Teppei to try and, reclaim the power that he feels like he's lacking. I can literally see it either way, and I feel like it's just impossible. It's impossible for me to say whether I feel like this is the author trolling me and misleading me, or if this is a hint from the author, and it is that Keiichi's being affected by this shit again. I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I don't know. Either way, the thing following Keiichi, right? Whether that is somehow inherent to the curse / the thing that makes you go crazy or not, I feel like it is still representative of something personal to Keiichi either way. It's just whether or not it's only Keiichi that experiences that, which would mean it's like something specific to Keiichi, or whether or not it's something like it is an indicator of him being affected by the thing that goes crazy. It's like everyone who goes crazy like this experiences that weird shit that follows you. But either way, I feel like it is still something related to Keiichi, right? Like, Keiichi's whole thing at the very start of the very first game, right? In Onikashi, when he's on the train and he's thinking about how anyone should be able to forgive anyone for anything, right? Doesn't that seem like someone who has done something in the past would be thinking, right? Something that Keiichi regrets, something in Keiichi's past that he doesn't want to look back at and think about. You know what I mean? And it doesn't have to be something big. I mean, it could literally be anything. It could be something tiny. You know what I mean? It could be something vague. It could be something about, like, his attitude towards life. Like, I don't know, right? But that's why it seems like such a personal thing to Keiichi, this thing that's following him. And it is either way, whether or not it is an inherent part of the curse, the thing that makes you go crazy or not. Okay, we've got it all figured out. And by we've got it figured out, I mean we didn't figure out anything. So, good. Okay. I'd crossed such a bridge to get my tranquil life back, and I'd finally achieved it as a result. But now, for the rest of my life, for all the tranquil days starting today, I'd have to live in fear of when they could suddenly end. I may have twisted my ankle, doled from total exhaustion. The fact that I couldn't make the snap judgment I needed to, I regretted it more and more as time went on. You didn't have a choice, Keiichi Maibara. Powerless, right? You didn't have any choice at the time. You were tired. You were a mess. Even if you had made the decision, you might not have been able to kill her. She might have just beaten you instead. In that sense, parting ways uneventfully could have been the safer option. No matter how sharp Takano-san's intuition was, she had no proof. Her suspecting me didn't amount to evidence by itself. Yeah, but he's not gonna be able to calm down. Yeah. And Keiichi's a bit of a warrior, isn't he? He's got a bit of an anxiety problem. Just worry about it when the time comes. Now isn't the time to be worrying. Yeah, it's happy, fun, awesome time. We got our happy days back. Yay! Woo! It's the time to be smiling, right? Exactly. You accomplished so much just to gain a new life starting today, didn't you? Then you should be happy at this new morning. If remembering the past is too hard for you, then just consider everything up to yesterday as having never happened. You said so yourself. You bury it all like it never happened. Well, your wish came true. Everything before yesterday never happened. So be happy, Keiichi Maibara. Yeah! It sounds so good. I stuck my hands up lazily. Things are gonna be horrible. No, Satoko's gonna, like, kill herself. Like, it's gonna be horrible. Like, I don't know. Like, I felt a little silly for me being the one doing it. I heaved a sigh from deep in my belly. That sigh got my lungs moving. It felt like I hadn't been breathing until just now. It wasn't enough to admonish myself over. All the dice that could be thrown already had been. And the numbers that turned up weren't bad at all. If I lost with those numbers, then I just have to give up, I guess. I grabbed the chest of my pajamas and flipped it back and forth. Cool air flowed over my sweating body. Okay. Nothing before yesterday happened. Good luck with that. Nothing at all. I'd forget it all. Yesterday was a dream. What time was it? About midday? Getting myself up and going to school this late seemed kind of absurd, but I needed to go. I felt like going to school would be the first step into my peaceful new life. Oh, fuck. Oh, fucking shit. Everything is gonna be horrible. Oh, Jesus Christ. I didn't care how late it was. I would go. I'd go to school right now and get back to the life I had retaken as soon as I could. Why did he wake up so late? Why didn't his parents wake him up? Are his parents alive? Did Takano kill them? Like, my lazy body immediately became lighter at the thought. I rolled up out of the futon, bounced onto my knees, then leaped upright. Stuck the landing, did you, Keiichi? I stuck out my chest with pride at my gymnast-like pose, then took a deep breath of fresh air. The brisk morning air had been gone for a while, replaced by the crisp air of summer. Downstairs, I got a stern talking to by my mother. Where were you last night? When did you get back? You need to tell me when you won't be home for dinner. Things like that. But considering the importance of what I'd accomplished yesterday, a little scolding was no problem. That's still him being fucking gone, though. That's not, like, nothing, you know, if a Wishi comes to fucking talk to him. In fact, it even felt like the sort of thing that would happen in such a peaceful life. I listened with an irresponsible smile, and stepped out into the sun high overhead. It was around the time lunch break would be ending. Everyone would probably be worrying about me. Did they have? I thought it was like Sunday today. It was Tatarigoroshi on Sunday. I think it was. So yeah, they do have school today. I didn't go to the festival, and now I wasn't at school. Well, maybe they weren't too worried about it. Yeah, like he got Oni Kagshi'd. Since they would have gotten a small piece of the news, but a happy one, from Satoko today. No, I don't think so. Yes, the small piece of news that her uncle hadn't come home last night. I bet Satoko didn't even go to school. I bet Satoko's still there, like, waiting for him. Satoko would probably live her days in a nervous tension for a while, thinking he might still come home. But eventually, those days would end. And finally, Satoko too, would realize her uncle was never coming back. And Satoshi was never coming back either in her mind, right? And then, Rika-chan would quietly invite her. She would say, "You can live with me again," and everything would be back to normal. Our lives would go back to how they were before that man appeared. Satoko would start wearing that extraordinary smile, complete with those protruding canines, and fool everyone with those traps she was so proud of. Obviously, to go back to that thing I was talking about earlier, too, the whole, like, anyone can forgive anyone for anything thing. That also really goes in line with this, too, right? The idea that things can just go back to normal, that you can forget, like, anything of any significance in the past, just forgive someone for anything, you know what I mean? Keiichi really likes that idea, doesn't he? I'd probably be her first target out of everyone, but I wouldn't be mad. In fact, I might actually shed tears of joy at the return of something so normal. Everything is gonna be fucking awful. Satoko, she'd gradually grow back into that meddlesome personality of hers. I mean, my lack of useful life skills was already completely exposed. I wondered if I'd ever be a match for Satoko. But that would be such a pleasant thing to see, too. Oh god, I'm fucking nervous. With such warm, fuzzy predictions, I didn't feel bad for going to school so late. In fact, I wanted to run there now to get there as soon as I could. Instead, I decided to savor the peacefulness of just going to school like normal, without running. The world I'd tamed for myself, that gave me joy just by walking like this. Yes, the world beginning on this very day was something I had won. Without that monumental feat yesterday, I would never have been able to come to school so cheerfully today. The school gates came into sight. Just then, I heard the principal ringing the bell to mark the end of lunch break. It was a clear, refreshing sound. I stopped despite myself, and let myself take it in. Tap. I had stopped suddenly. So there was an extra footstep. With a noise, the blessedness I was feeling throughout my whole body withdrew into any pore I could find. Also, obviously, if the footsteps are representative, I don't know how I didn't think about this before. If the footsteps are representative of some kind of thing in Keiichi's past he doesn't want to, like, face, something he's ignoring, right? He's got a fucking new one now, right? Killing Teppei. So of course the footsteps showing up now make sense, because he's got a new fucking pair of footsteps back there. Killing fucking Teppei, right? So of course, like, just thematically, like, what you symbolically, what you could say they represent, like, of course it makes sense they would show up now, right? Like, god damn, because that's what he's doing right now, is there's this whole, you know, what's he doing? He's ignoring what happened, right? Like, with a noise, the blessedness I was feeling throughout my whole body withdrew into any pore it could find. And as if to replace it, I felt like hundreds of hairy caterpillars were climbing up my feet. I turned back, but of course, nobody was there. A single footstep could have easily been my imagination. But the footstep felt so ominous. That extra footstep I had heard, after seeing Takano-san off last night. With everything that happened on that insane night, I didn't mind something like that happening once. It had been a hell of a night after all. Yeah, like the idea that he was going crazy last night, you know? In fact, having just one hallucination was pretty fortunate. But those footsteps should have ended with yesterday, so if I heard them again today, yeah, like he should have moved on, I guess. Yeah. There was really only one thing it could have meant. Last night still wasn't over. It was still going. Oh, God. Still. That insane night. Forever. Great. Awesome. Good. Good thing to think. The step I heard, just that one extra footstep, was quietly ridiculing the nonsensical notion that the world starting today was completely different from the one that ended yesterday. My classmates playing in the schoolyard all vanished inside, like the tide going out. When I approached the school, it felt like that warm, fuzzy scene had ended, and it didn't feel good. Oh, fuck. At the entrance, I took a quick look in everyone's shoeboxes. Satoko Hojo. She was here. Oh, shit. Okay. Mion was here too, and Rena, of course. Even Rika-chan was here. Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun were here. In fact, I didn't see any missing classmates. If their shoes were missing, they would have to be my own. I guess, yeah, it's like, I don't know. No one in class got any cock sheet, I guess. I took my shoes off and stuck them in, then took out some slippers. There wasn't a single pair left in the shoeboxes anymore. With that, they returned to their rightful state. But as I stepped up onto the wooden floor, I noticed there was just one pair of slippers left. Huh? Whose?
Hojo Satoshi.
Okay. Satoshi, who had never been to school since, disappearing last year. Until now, we had committed the exact same act of violence. But I guess in the very end, it went differently. You couldn't make it to school, but here I am. I didn't repeat the same mistake you made. I wasn't about to let myself feel superior about that. But Satoshi did disappear a few days later, right? So, in fact, I felt an odd sense of familiarity with him. A misfortunate bond, with someone I'd never met due to following the same fate. I headed down the hallway towards the usual classroom. It felt like it had been a whole year since coming here. Hey, did you forget Keiichi Mabara? Satoshi Hojo didn't really disappear on the night of Tatarigoroshi, did he? Exactly. Satoshi Hojo disappeared a few days later. On Satoko's birthday, if I was right. I didn't know what day it was, but I couldn't say for sure I'd avoided Satoshi's failure, unless I remained here past that day. I was still living in that night of insanity. I'm terrified. The teacher still hadn't come to the classroom. The other door clattered open, the one the teacher wouldn't use, so everyone turned at once to see who had arrived. Everyone looked pretty vacant. Suppose I'll greet them.
Ohayo, Shokun. Demukae gokurou de aru zo yo.
Silence. Oh, what happened? 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 No one else would have died, right? I mean, like, I don't think... But everyone's here, so it's no one in the classroom who died. No one got Oni cocksheet in the classroom. Is it Satoko? Is it something about Satoko? Like, did she have another fucking breakdown? Like, when I started to think I'd fallen flat, someone finally started laughing for me. Satoko. No, Mia. Okay. Or, of course, I mean, they also could have thought he was the one who was Oni cocksheet, you know. Or I wonder if something went horribly wrong at the festival last night. I don't know, there could have been anything, who knows? Hearing Mion and Rena's cheerful voices made me realize how dumb those dark feelings I'd been having at the entrance really were. At the festival at all, remember? Before I could say that, Rika-chan smiled at me. Interesting. Interesting. Are they covering for him? They're covering for him. Mion knows what he did, right? Mion has to know what he did after their phone call, right before Watanagashi, right? So I guess it kind of makes sense that they would cover for him like this, that they must know what he did. In that sense, Satoko has to know too. Okay. Mion starts laughing at the memory as she slaps me a few times on the back.
それであの射的屋の対決って結局どうなったんですか？
Tomita-kun was facing me and talking. There was nobody behind me. That meant he was talking to me?
あれは結局富田家がビリだったのですよ。
Right. It's like it went the same as
みん
Onikashi.
なで楽しく罰ゲームをしましたです。
リカちゃんも実質ビリみたいなもんだったじゃない。あそこで起死回生の大技でガムをゲットとは、さすがは我が部の部員。見事だったよ。
Okay. I don't know what to think. Crying at a time like that is a feat only Furude would be allowed to do. Okamura-kun, breathing heavily from his nose. In my direction. Everyone laughed. If anyone but Rika-chan had done it, it would have been against the rules. Rika-chan gave one of her knee paw smiles as she listened to it. Can you say it? I want to hear it. In my direction. Runa, too, turned to me. No, turned towards me. And then, with a somewhat embarrassed smile, she whispered to me so only I could hear.
でも本当にありがとね、ケイチくん。
もう何がだよ。
あのでっかいぬいぐるみ。
They are just covering for him, right? Like, I mean, this is weird, right? This is weird, you know? What this makes me think of is the unexplained, like, timeline stuff, right? We don't know what's going on, right? We have no fucking idea what's going on with this weird timeline shit, you know? How we keep fucking having the new timelines going on, you know? And we don't really even have a hint, right? There's really no way to know what's going on, you know? And I don't really know how I could say what's going on right now could relate to it. It just makes me think, it just brings that up to the forefront of my mind again. That we still don't know what's up with that, right? This weird timeline stuff. I mean, I still want to say they're just covering for him. The other thing this makes you think of course, is the end of Tatarigoroshi, when Oishi was trying to make it sound like a bunch of dead people were running around, right? They were like multiple copies of people. I don't believe that for a second, because I think Mion really had already been dead, and I think Takano faked her death, right? That makes sense to me. So I don't think there's another version of Keiichi that went to Tanagashi. I mean, and if we're going beyond saying that they're just covering for him, no, they just have to be covering for him, right? That's kind of just makes the most sense. Until I really get something that shows me that they're not just trying to cover for him right now, I'm just gonna say that they're just covering for him.
すっごく嬉しかった。大事に枕元に置いてるんだよ。ちゃんと寝る前にお休みのキスしちゃった。
Of course. The class laughed at that, cheering and jeering. This whole time, the conversation had been a little bit off. I wasn't quite getting it.
ぬいぐるみがどうしたって？
Keiichi, come on, Keiichi, you gotta get with it.
どうしたって、昨日のお祭りでみんなで頑張って落としたよ。でっかいぬいぐるみ。
Yeah?
でっかいぬいぐるみ。
Rena seemed taken aback, but when she answered, she did it with a smile.
なかなか倒せないから額を狙ったり素早く何発も撃ったりしていろいろと試したんだよね。それでケイチ君、鉄砲を何丁もあらかじめ用意して素早く撃ってみせてくれたんだよね。かっこよかった。
Oh, it sure was. It sure was cool, Rena. Wait, who was this?
あの後の飲み会でさ、町内会の会長連中にも
Oh god. Oh god, oh god, oh god. Okay, okay, sure,
ケイちゃん
right.
の売り工場に惚れたって騒いでたのは子供会の君吉徳蔵会長だったから、次の祭りではぜひケイちゃんに何店舗か任せたいって言ってた。
徳蔵はお祭りの実行委員会の模擬店部長さんなのです。
Surely that's vital information I need to write down. Maibara-san is great at making things sound good, isn't he? Yep, whenever he talks about something, it seems a lot better than it actually is, right? It's like the two Watanagashis that we've seen are like fucking merging. But I still don't, I think that's still overthinking it. Like, ha ha ha, you can't say that. Ah ha 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 ha.
ケイチ君って売り子さんの才能があるんだね。バナナの叩き売りとかやったら上手だと思うよ。
さっきから何の話だよ。だいたい俺。
didn't go to the festival in the first place. I swallowed those words. I didn't know exactly why, but in Hinamizawa, this was what had happened. Sure. Yesterday, during the Watanagashi festival, Keiichi Maibara had appeared, and he had romped about with all the usual members of his club. He made a big scene at a few of the stalls, snatched a few sticks of takoyaki and okonomiyaki in his glee, rating each of them as delicious or terrible to get everyone excited. And they'd seen a giant stuffed animal at the target practice game, and everyone went after it. And then I got a whole bunch of the court guns, firing them in rapid succession, throwing each one away after using it. And admirably, I shot down the biggest stuffed animal there. And then I gave the stuffed animal, the proof of my victory, to Rina as a gift. Then our fun came to a close, and we had to go see Rika-chan's offertory dance. There was a ton of people squeezed in there, and we all got separated, but we each managed to get into good positions to cheer Rika-chan on from. Then, in the middle, when Shion came up and asked me to go hang out with her instead of watching the dedication dance, I refused, and stayed put, watching the dance until the very end. Interesting. But who? Who was that? Well, everyone's been saying it, haven't they? I don't know what to think. I don't know. Is this just them covering for him? I feel like that's still not impossible, that that's just what they're... I feel like there's still no evidence that that isn't what's happening. I mean, the only other option is that we're just delving into this bizarre timeline shit that we know nothing about, and at that point, it's kind of just impossible, I gotta clean my glasses, to even make anything about it, like... Because I just don't know. I don't know. If it's weird timeline shit, I have no idea what to say or think at all, right? There's nothing to be said. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, it could be anything. So, I don't know. If it's them covering for him, it makes sense, but we're making such a big deal out of it, I don't know. Unless we're just making a big deal out of Keiichi going crazy over it and not, like, understanding what they're doing. Which makes sense to me, but... If it's weird timeline shit, I don't know what to say. It's like, sure, go off, I guess. I guess I'm along for the wild ride, I suppose. Keiichi Maibara. I had an urge to yell in anger at my classmates for having so much fun talking about yesterday's festival with Keiichi Maibara. What the hell are you guys even talking about? Far stronger than that feeling, though, was the sheer uncanny nature of this reality I couldn't understand. Keiichi Maibara, who wasn't me, was in Hinamizawa yesterday. As I threw away my humanity, turned into a demon. I mean, it could be fucking anything, right? If this is real, and that they really do have these memories, these fake memories, or... The idea of them being, like, fake memories from a different timeline makes more sense to me than there literally being another Keiichi Maibara running around, right? So, I mean, it could be fucking anything, right? Like, it kind of goes to the core of what the explanation for these different timelines would be, which we have no fucking clue. So, like, I don't know, right? Obviously, like, I mean, like, to talk about it for a moment, I suppose, the timeline stuff, obviously what you want to think is that someone, somehow, some power doing something is resetting these timelines or whatever, trying to make it not end horribly, right? That's kind of the idea, is that both timelines we've seen, and probably this one, I'm gonna assume, have ended horribly, right? Keiichi dead, everyone dead, horrible things happening, right? And the next game we restart, and it's like we try again, right? And alongside that, it's like we start further in the timeline too, right? It's like events from the past timelines that, like, I guess went well, or like, you know, like in Onikashi, it's like all the stuff up to when they went to the game store and played the tournament game, right? That, in Watanagashi, all that stuff had happened before. All that stuff that happened in Tatarigoroshi up to some point, right? Because I think he met Shion at Angel Mort too. That stuff happened in this timeline, you know what I mean? So it's like we're piecing together like a timeline where stuff doesn't go horribly wrong, I guess. But like what power or what person or what anything could be controlling that? I mean, it could be literally anyone, you know? I don't know. Oyashiro-sama? I don't know. As I threw away my humanity, turned into a demon, and was busy beating Satoko's uncle to death. I was having a great time at the festival last night. What the hell? I had to suffer through so much, desperately holding back tears, getting so worn out in that downpour. Digging holes, chasing, beating, killing, dragging and burying. Who was this Keiichi Maibara who'd ignored me so, and spent such a fun, carefree time at the festival, damn it? Who the hell stood in for me, as I put my life on the line working so hard to achieve this treasure-like everyday life? If there was another Keiichi Maibara besides me, then what was I? On the night of Tanagashi, where one died and one disappeared, in accordance with Oshiro-sama's curse, there was only a demon who had killed someone. Dumbfounded, as I succumbed to a horrifying possibility, I looked around at my classmates. To make sure there was nobody extra I didn't recognize among them. To make sure I wasn't among them. It was a horrifying thought. That the real Keiichi Maebara hadn't overslept and had come to school on time. But, like, his parents knew he came back late, for example, you know what I mean? And that I was no longer Keiichi Maebara, who would just waltzed in here. I still think, it's obviously still a complete possibility they're just making all this up to cover for him, right? But, I don't know. But, no matter how much I checked, the only people here were the ones I knew. The man I met every time I looked in the bathroom mirror was not here. Okay, sounds good, Chi-sensei. The teacher entered and everyone hurried back to their seats. Upon finding me, who was stupidly late, she gave me a stern talking to, but I wasn't listening to it. Wasn't our old life supposed to start today? Where the fuck is Satoko? Where is Satoko? Something wasn't right. It was just strange. I was supposed to go back to my old, fun life after yesterday. I had set foot in an incomparably mysterious world that was completely different from both my old life and my recent one. They didn't mention Satoko at all in their reminiscence of the festival. Is Satoko gone? Did Satoko disappear somehow? What, okay. Yes, this was, without a doubt, a different world than the one I'd been living in until now. There was no way such an absurd thing could be possible. But, unless it was true, I couldn't explain anything that had just happened. In this classroom, I was surrounded by so many faces I knew, and yet I felt isolated. The cicadas sounded no different than they had before now, but they seemed somehow false. The air was parched and dry, too, making me think, was the air in Hinamizawa always this uncomfortable?
Oi, Lena.
何かな？授業中なんだよ。
昨日の祭りだけどさ、俺いつ頃みんなと合流したっけ？
To be honest, I was pretty excited afterwards, and I gobbled down some cans of beer. I mean, it's kind of embarrassing, but I don't quite remember some things. For random babbling, it wasn't a bad excuse.
ケイチ君、最初は来れないって言ってたんだよね。
Uh-huh.
みーちゃんの家にそう電話したんでしょ？
Right. That matched. I called Mion and told her to take Satoko in my place, since I wouldn't be able to meet up with them due to things I had to do.
さとこちゃんを誘ってあげようっていうのは、みんなでお祭りの準備をしてた時に決めたんだよ。
Of course, of
少
course.
しでもおじさんの姿の見えないところに連れ出してあげようと思って。
That was the same too. Mion said that when I called her. That everyone had already decided to invite her. I just had, like, the worst fucking thought ever. Because Bretta just mentioned Satoko's uncle, though, like, normally, right? It didn't seem like it, you know, just, yeah, nothing about her uncle to say, I suppose. Let's go off the deep end for a second. What if we are in a different fucking universe now, right? Imagine if Teppei is still alive. Imagine if Teppei isn't dead, right? Like, what would Keiichi do if Teppei is still alive somehow, right? And just we have gone fully off the deep end. We're in a different timeline, a different universe, and Teppei is still alive. It would be like, oh man, that everyone had already decided to invite her.
それでみんなでレナとみーちゃんとリカちゃんでさとこちゃんの家に行ってさとこちゃんを連れ出して。
Okay.
さとこちゃんのおじさんすっごく
No
意地悪
kidding.
そうな人だった。
That part didn't matter. What I was trying to ask was...
俺はいつ合流したんだ？
Was he already there when you guys got back, maybe?
そんなことも忘れちゃってるの？ケイチ君。だから祭りの前の日はよく寝た方がいいよって言ったのに。
だから俺はいつ合流したんだよ。
And my sudden threatening demand, Rona was at a loss for words. Oops, I shouldn't have rushed that. I told her I was sorry.
境内でだよ。ひょっこりと。
Okay.
リカちゃんと話してたじゃない。
Ooh, talking to Rika.
巫女さん姿のリカちゃんと楽しそうに話してた。
Okay, talking to Rika. So then, I mean, like, if this weird shit is real, then Rika is kind of the I don't know, the origin point of it, I guess, you know what I mean? Like, Rika is the, I don't know, Rika. I want to hear more from Rika now.
それでレナも加わって「はうお持ち帰り」って。
リカちゃんと話してたのか。
ケイちゃん、用事か何かがあったんじゃないって私が聞いた。
They could still just be covering for him, I don't know.
ケイちゃん、胸を叩きながら自分で言ったじゃないのよ。用事なんかより祭りで大暴れする方が大切だぜって。
I didn't say that. I never said anything like that. I never even went to the shrine grinds yesterday to begin with. I never had the time to stop by a place like that. I went to dig the hole as soon as I woke up. I had a pretty hard time doing it. After that, I snuck into the school and made a call. I called him out and lay in wait. And then it started raining really hard. With that kind of downpour, the festival should have come to a halt. In other words, it ended then. From the time the festival started to when it ended, it would have been impossible for me to have swung by the shrine grounds. I was already there when Mion and the others dragged Satoko out and brought her to the shrine, and I was talking to Rika-chan. Then, where did Rika-chan say we met? Exactly. The teacher went out to wash her hands, so I ran over to Rika-chan's desk and asked her directly.
ケイイチとですか？
ああ、リカちゃんはミオンたちが来る前から俺と話してたんだろ。いつ俺に会ったんだ？いつどこでだよ。
ケイイチが何を聞きたいのか
Rika, please
わから
no.
ないのです。
Figure it out.
俺昨日寝不足で半分頭がぼーっとなっててさ。
Uh-huh.
何も覚えてないんだよ。
It looks like Rika-chan bought into my babble.
ケイイチと会ったのは集会所から村長さんたちと
I
出
guess
て
she
きた
doesn't
時
really
な
know
ので
anything,
す。
does she?
ケイイチは西宮殿の
Oh
扉
god,
の
in
前
front
に
of
い
the
ましたのです。
Saiguden. In front of the Saiguden? Oh god. I don't like that. Okay. Here's what's going on. Okay. The Saiguden is a portal to other universes, right? Oh, here, listen. Okay. I got it all figured out. Okay. Shion, hallucinating, right? Okay. When we went to the Saiguden with Tatarigoroshi, right? Shion, she heard the weird shit, someone jumping on stuff, right? Also, the other one that, like, I've mentioned a couple times, but, like, it never really came back up, was Shion saying that she also saw someone in, like, one of the cages, right? Keiichi kind of played that one off, saying it was, like, too dark to see, but I feel like that was part of Shion's, like, weird hallucinations, right? Okay. The Saiguden, and the Oyashiro-sama, like, statue is in there too, right? It's a big place, So, the Saiguden is a secret portal between other universes, and the stomping sound that Shion and Tomitake heard was a Keiichi trying to break through the magical universe wall to get into that universe, I guess. Sure, why not? And that's what happened. That's what happened in this one. Is Keiichi from a different universe. This is Keiichi from, I don't know, universe number 7 that was at the Tanagashi last night. He crawled through the secret universe portal in the Saiguden, came out, walked out of the Saiguden, and he's there. All right, we got it all figured out. Okay. I'm glad yeah, okay. All right. That was easy. Man, you guys call this a mystery game? Like, man.
何？西宮殿？
I never heard of a building called that before. Or maybe I have, but at the very least, I wouldn't know where in the shrine grounds it was.
村長さんがそこは神聖な場所だからみだりに近寄ってはならにゅうと怒りましたですよ。
Sure.
ケイイチ、それも忘れてしまいましたですか？
I was too scared to ask any more. The more I asked, the more it became clear without any doubt that Keiichi Maibara was present at the Fruto Day Shrine Grounds during the Watanagashi Festival. They were being very specific, right? Like, it would really be hard to make all of this up to cover for him. To keep their story straight, you know? The clearer that became, the more doubts, no fears I had. Who on earth was I yesterday? Whoever that was, he had a good time in my place, and managed to go the entire day without letting them notice I wasn't there. I'm literally only half kidding about this whole Saiguden universe portal thing. Like, I don't know, I feel like that has to be linked, right? We never got an explanation for the weird thing that Shion and Tomitake heard, right? Of course Shion was going crazy and, like, hallucinating, right? But so was Tomitake, maybe? But Tomitake also heard it, right? So it's not just, like, a personal hallucination Shion was having, right? So it has to mean something, the sound of someone jumping on floorboards or whatever. She also saw the thing in the cage. Like, I don't know what that means, but, like, who knows? Keiichi was sitting up there. So Keiichi being right outside the Saiguden, I don't know. Alright. When did that person leave everyone? This morning, my mother got mad at me for having stayed out so late last night, which meant at the very least that Keiichi Maibara hadn't come home while my mother was still awake. The festival would have been closed because of the downpour. If I recall right, when I went back to the house's storage room to get another shovel, I think the clock said 7. Since it was already raining hard by then, the festival would have had to close down before 7. If I'd returned that early, I would have definitely run into my parents. Or at the very least, they wouldn't have had to ask me when I got back last night. I'm just saying, like, he's talking about how much it's rained. He also said a few lines ago about how dry the air is. Like, ask them if it rained last night. So the Keiichi Maibara from yesterday, that meant he never went home. That meant the downpour happened, the festival was broken up, everyone left. But he didn't go back to the house. That means... When I arrived at the natural conclusion, a wicked chill suddenly froze up my spine and climbed up to my brain. Oni cockshied? That meant Keiichi Maibara was the same as Satoshi. One day, he never went home. On the night of Tanagashi, he never went home. Keiichi's making a lot of logical jumps here, right? He's really, like, I'm not really buying all of this, you know what I mean? Because if he is going crazy like an Onikachi, then of course he's going to start thinking insane shit, right? The downpour interrupted the festival, and on the way home, he suddenly disappeared. And I, who was dealing with the corpse, went home without a problem. I was so tired I wasn't even hungry, so I went up to my room without a sound and crawled into my futon. Who was I? That much was obvious. Keiichi Maibara. Keiichi Maibara was me. There may have been another one, but that didn't negate the fact that I was Keiichi Maibara. Then, that other Keiichi Maibara was what? The voices of the cicadas, steadily filling the classroom, were beginning to bother me. Suddenly, I laid eyes on Satoko. Finally! Oh, fuck. Oh, God. Oh, shit. It's over. I don't want to look at it. It's over. Satoko's expression was dark as always. She seemed completely exhausted. At a life of agony she couldn't even imagine an ending to. What had last night been like for Satoko? Did she have fun with everyone and feel a little happier, if even for a moment? And when she went home, the end of her dream, she'd probably gone to sleep afraid of when her uncle would return. And then, this morning, her uncle hadn't come home. And then she went to school. Right now, she must have still been trapped by the rotten idea from which she couldn't be saved, that her uncle would need her when she got back. God, I did not read that sentence right at all, but you know what, that's okay. But you can rest easy, Satoko. Your uncle won't ever be coming back. I couldn't tell her it was because I'd killed him. What if he's still alive? What if he's still around? I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. When Satoko realized on her own that her uncle would never return, then that would truly be the end of a long and sane night. That's right. I didn't do anything wrong. I did the best possible thing I could have as Satoko's Nini. Not an atom in my body regretted it. And look, calm down and think, Keiichi Maibara. From a certain point of view, isn't it convenient that there was another Keiichi Maibara? I buried the corpse perfectly. A beginning wouldn't happen. But if worse came to worst, and it got out, and the investigation got to me, the beginning has already happened, unfortunately. They already are gonna know he's gone. I now had a strong alibi, able to profess the fact that I'd been at the Watanagashi festival. But accepting something so creepy, and using it as an alibi. Still, if I proved I hadn't gone to the festival yesterday, it would do no good and a whole lot of harm. They could literally still be covering for him, and that's the point, but that was what can I read? That was what left the really, actually bad aftertaste. You'll forget about it, Keiichi Maibara. Everything that happened before today. So just forget about the Keiichi Maibara who was there yesterday too. Instead, let's watch gently over Satoko for the day her smile returns. And the day that would mark the end of that insane, all too long night. Fuck. Okay.
皆さん、寄り道をしないで、ちゃんとお家へ帰るんですよ。
Ooh.
委員長、号令。起立。
Goodbye. I thought about many things, and saw my thoughts dispersed by many other things. I didn't know whether or not that time had been spent worrying or daydreaming, but either way, it came to an end along with the class. Cheerfully, our classmates got their things and ran for the hallway. Mion, Rena, and Eureka-chan were packing up as well. What about Satoko? The whole day, she'd seemed deflated. Well, her uncle may have not returned last night, and she wouldn't have known he'd never returned. How much I wanted to express that fact to her. Satoko packed up her pencil box and math workbook messily, and after a dark glance at the clock, heaved a sigh, then went to leave the classroom. Then, suddenly, somebody placed a hand on her shoulder and stopped her.
何ですの？私、ちゃんと水やり当番もやりましたし、プリントだってちゃんと。
Her words, possessed by a persecution complex, hurt. Literally. I spoke loudly so everyone could hear.
なあみんな、さ、今日は久しぶりにやらないか？部活。
Satoko always had to tend to her uncle, so club had been on hiatus. This is gonna go horribly. In our minds, our club was proof of a calm, peaceful life. By enjoying being together, I wanted to make Satoko realize her days of darkness were over.
レナは、いいよ。
そりゃ、まあ、私は構わないけど。
But Satoko...
サトコがいいならね。
Yeah. Under a condition. That was important. With everything up to her, Satoko gave a worried look.
なあ、サトコ。久々に。
Oh, fuck.
パーッとさ。
その、お気持ちは
Oh my
嬉しいでござい
god,
ま
I
す。
don't want to look at her. I don't want to look at her. My uncle might already be home. Thus spoke her darkened eyes, her mouth unmoving.
サトコもさ、連日息が詰まるような生活を
Don't
ず
say
っと
that.
続けててさ。そんなのは心にも体にも悪いだけだぜ。やっぱりたまにはパーッと弾けなきゃな。
放っておいてくださいまし。
Yeah.
私だって、そりゃ部活がまたやれたらと思っていますわよ。
Don't push too hard, Keiichi, please. With one word, but she looked
み
down.
んなで遊んだ方が楽しいのはサトコだってよく知ってるだろ。俺たちは仲間だぜ。みんなで一緒に。
This is gonna make her feel awful. This is gonna make her feel awful, right?
サトコだって昨日みんなでお祭りで騒いで楽しかったろ。
Rena nearly said something, but she was too late.
ケイチさん、何を言ってますの？
My arm on her shoulder seemed to weigh her down, and she threw it off.
私がお祭りで楽しく、
What? Did she not? Okay.
楽しく遊んだのは、ケイチさんだけじゃありませんの。
Oh. I looked over to Mion for help. But now everyone was looking down. My instincts told me that Satoko hadn't gone to the festival. They didn't mention her. But Rena said it herself, that she went with Mion to Satoko's house to invite her.
サトコちゃん、途中で帰っちゃったの。神社には行かなかった。
どうして？
I realized the absurdity of what I just said with Satoko in front of me.
おじが家で待ってるのに、一人だけ遊んでると悪いって言って、神社の直前で。
私たちも引き止めたんだよ。今日はおじさん公認だから、ちゃんと遊んでも怒られないんだよって。
But no, but it's not about her uncle, it's about herself, right? She doesn't think that she should have fun like this, or that she should be doing these things. Because that's almost like accepting that Satoshi is gone, you know what I mean? Like, she thinks she has to go through all this suffering and this horrible trial to get Satoshi back. And if she doesn't, if she lets it ease up at all, then that's risking Satoshi coming back, you know what I mean? Because she has to prove herself through this, right? At some point, tears had begun welling up in Satoko's eyes. Satoko was so afraid of her uncle that she wouldn't even allow herself time with her friends and went home. No, she was even afraid of letting herself have a good time with her friends.
ケイチさんはいいですわね。
Fuck.
みんなで楽しくお祭り一夜を過ごせて。聞けば、大層盛り上がって大活躍だったそうじゃない
Oh
ですか。
no, he's gonna say something. He's gonna say something.
お羨ましいことですわ。
Smiling to herself, her tears began to fall. Fuck.
私には、
No,
私のあなた
stop,
にならない用事がいます。
stop.
ケイチさんみたいに、ご両親にのんびり養ってもらってる人とは、わけが違いますです、ね。
Oh my god.
サトコ。
楽しくお祭りが過ごせてよかったですわね。私の分まで楽しく過ごせて本当におよろしかったですこと。私だって部活がしたいですわ。みんなで楽しく大騒ぎして楽しくて楽しくて。でも今の私そんなの
Unable to withstand such violent emotion, a few teardrops slid down her cheek. But even though she was having such a terrible time, not once did she ever say it was hard for her. Of course, she can't admit that. It was a sad, obstinate bravery. But the days when Satoko had to feel like that were over, are they? Satoko didn't need to endure it, to bear it anymore. She could forget all about it now and smile. I was so frustrated at not being able to tell her that directly. Instead, I said something that I'm not sure I should have said before I thought twice about it. Fuck.
帰ってこないんだろ。あいつは。
The words were deeply meaningful to me, but I didn't know if Satoko understood them.
帰ってこないって
Yeah, Satoshi.
誰がですの？
ゆうべは帰らなかったんだろ。お前のお家は。
何を言ってますの、ケイイチさんは。
Satoko shouted with all her might.
あいつがいついなくなったって言うんですの？
Oh my god.
いつ？
落ち着けよ。だって昨日あいつは。
ケイイチさんが何を言ってるの？
No, he's still alive. No, it's over. Oh my fuck. Oh my god. What the fuck? What the fuck? No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
だってあの男は。
I killed him. Killed him yesterday. Killed him for sure. I buried him. Buried him whole. He could have never returned to his house.
昨日だって私にいっぱい意地悪して怒鳴ってわめいて当たり散らして作ったご飯を投げられた。お味噌汁もひっくり返された。暑かった、汚かった、そしてお掃除も私がした。私がああ
It's over. What? Our stories weren't matching
あ
up.
いつ。え？いる？
今朝だって朝ごはんの時起こせって言われたから起こしたのに怒られ
Yeah, okay. Here are the options, right? Here are the options. Satoko has lost her mind, / is in complete denial about his disappearance. Because of, like, what she thinks that means, right? She thinks if he disappears, that means she failed the trial and thought she's never coming back, right? That's option number 1. So she is trying to convince herself that he is still around and she's gone crazy, essentially, right? I'm not, I very understandably so. Or insane shit's going on. And, I mean, I guess either way, insane shit's going on. And we have been transported to a different universe, right? Like,
起こさなかったらまた怒るように起こしても怒られた。
さとこ。
Ruka-chan went over to Satoko and said a few words of consolation. But Satoko angrily refused those words and thrust Ruka-chan away. Fuck.
いいに早く帰ってきてよ。
What the fuck? What the fuck? Crying, Satoko slowly walked out into the hallway. After a moment, Ruka-chan went after her. I couldn't stop thinking about the words Satoko had spoken while crying. I buried her uncle last night, but she said this morning. That was impossible. I buried him last night, so she shouldn't have seen her uncle this morning. He's gonna check the grave, go check the grave, go check the grave. What was Satoko? At that point, I heard Mion's cold voice. Yeah, no kidding.
ねえケイちゃん、サトコのおじさんが帰ってこないって。何？
Gulp. I said too much. I let my emotions get the better of me.
レナも聞いたよ。さとこちゃんのおじさんが帰ってこないって言った。
どうして？なんで帰ってこないの？
おかしいよね。だって今朝もちゃんとさとこちゃんのおじさんはいるんだよ。なのになんで帰ってこないなんて言うのかな。
ケイちゃん、言ってることがさっきから変。
Suddenly, Mion and Rena started to speak in strange and creepy voices. Okay, what is going on? What is going on? What is happening? Do they know? Do they know somehow? Okay. Timeline shit, right? Timeline shit. We've seen multiple timelines. We know it's almost like someone is piecing together a timeline or something, right? Like, we're slowly moving forward in the timeline. We're piecing stuff together that I guess in some sense like went well or something. And it's almost like it resets when everything goes horribly, right? I guess I don't believe that Mion and Rena, like, remember the other timelines. That'd be fucking crazy. I don't know how they would, right? I don't know how they would know anything about this, you know? I have to take everything with a grain of salt now, because it's also possible that Keiichi's losing his mind. It's possible he's gone insane. We could just be in Onikashi mode again. And he's just hallucinating and going crazy, right? But if someone or something has control over this timeline and is doing this weird shit with this timeline stuff, then what? It's like they undid what Keiichi did last night, right? They fixed it, I guess. It was like Keiichi killing Teppei wasn't in the plan or whatever. It isn't something, you know. But it happened so differently, right? If that's what happened, this is so different than what's happened before, you know what I mean? Like, because Keiichi remembers, unlike the previous, like, starts of this game, the game before that, Onikakushi, right? Keiichi remembers what happened, so it couldn't be like that, like a normal, like a timeline reset like we have at the start of a game, right? But someone or something undid what Keiichi did. But why would Keiichi remember if that's the case, right? Why would Mion and Rena remember? Because that's what it seems like right now, unless Keiichi's losing his mind. Is it even true that Teppei's actually back? I don't know how Satoko... What were they doing? What were they saying?
ケイちゃんはサトコのおじさんがいると何か都合が悪いことでもあるわけ。
Yeah, it sure fucking is.
お前らこそ。
No, yeah, it sure is inconvenient for him to be around.
サトコのおじなんかいない方がいいに決まってるだろうが。
それはもちろんいない方がいいよね。よね。
Something wasn't right. Because Keiichi could just be hallucinating right now, so I just don't know. I don't know. The next thing I knew, Mion and Rena were smiling thinly, and their eyes were dark and muddy, in a way I'd never seen before. And as our eyes met, that mud seemed to fill the air.
サトコのおじは確かに嫌なやつだよね。私もいなくなった方がいいやつだと思うよ。でもさ、仕方ないじゃない。
Powerless. Nothing we can do. Something's wrong. Something's clearly wrong here. What the hell is happening? After a moment, a chilly liquid-like feeling, as though my blood had been mixed with sherbet, crawled up my spine.
仕方ないって。そりゃ仕方ないけど、でもそれじゃサトコが。
仕方がなければどうするのかな。
Ugh. Rena was trying to prompt me to say more. There really was no choice, so I killed him. Okay. The syringe. Okay. Based off Mion having the syringe in Onikakushi, Mion does know about something, right? She knows about something. Whether or not that something extends to this weird timeline shit, I don't know. But here's what I'm thinking, right? Mion... Okay, I'm like really thinking here. Mion knows weird stuff about this thing that makes you go crazy because of the syringe, right? If the syringe is a fix or a cure or something that Dr. Irie made to do something to fix you, to cure you, the thing that makes you go crazy, I don't know, something like that. Mion knows about that. Assumedly, Mion like knows what it is, knows what it does, knows more details about this thing that makes you go crazy, all of that, right? 2 chapters ago, or maybe it was 3, when Keiichi decided he's gonna kill Teppei, he was thinking all that crazy shit about like, oh, I'm gonna murder him and blah, 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 blah. He looks really scary and creepy, right? Rena said that. I think Mion said that too, right? So at that point, just like in Onikakushi, when I think Rena and Mion could tell that Keiichi was going crazy, and by extent, I think Mion knows enough to know what was happening to Keiichi. I think Mion knew that Keiichi was being affected by the thing that makes you go crazy. I mean, obviously, she knew that he was. That's why she showed up with the syringe by the end, at least, right? So if Keiichi's being affected by that again, and just like in Onikakushi, Mion knows that's what's happening to him, we can assume Mion also must know, then, that, of course, the target of Keiichi's weird thing that makes him go crazy, the person he's going to want to kill, is Teppei, right? So Mion would, of course, know, by that extent, that Keiichi wants to kill Teppei, right? So Mion asking him this weird shit, saying this weird shit about Satoko's uncle, and saying, like, oh, yeah, surely you don't just want to kill him, basically, right? It's like, of course she would have that in her mind. If she knows that Keiichi is being affected by this shit, and after the last time when he was acting so fucking crazy, and they were, like, looking at him, right? That's how they can tell. She knows that his target would be Teppei. It makes sense why she would be asking him and, like, talking to him in this way about Satoko's uncle, right? And I think that and the reason why I'm clarifying and setting all this up is because that explains why she's talking like this and explaining all of this in a way other than her literally, like, knowing what happened and having memories from some alternate timeline or something, right? Another option here that I just thought of while I was saying all of this is that Keiichi never killed Teppei in the first place. And Keiichi has gone so far off the deep end with hallucinating that he hallucinated everything that happened in the last chapter. Which I don't really want to believe that. I don't really think that makes sense. But I think, with all of that said, this is a reasonable explanation for why Mion Arena would be acting like this. Beyond them somehow having memories from other timelines, right? I think that they could be saying all of these things and acting like this about Teppei just based off the way they saw Keiichi acting before, alongside at least Mion's, assumedly, knowledge that she's had for a while about the thing that makes you go crazy, about the syringe, all this stuff, right? Because she knows that Keiichi's being affected by it now, or at least she suspects it, and that's why she's, like, talking to him in this way about Teppei. Okay, sure. There really was no choice, so I killed him. I killed him to protect Satoko.
それは
放っておきなよ。そのうち解決しちゃうと思うしさ。
さとこちゃんがおじさんがいるって言ってるんだからいる。
Okay.
ちゃんと昨日もいたし、今朝もいる。そうならそうでいいんじゃないかな。かな。
Mion and Rena were speaking unbelievably dismissively. And, like, I don't know what to say about that line, right? Like, what would I say about Rena saying this? You know what I mean? Like, I don't fucking know, right? Like, of course, Keiichi is going crazy, so you could say Keiichi's hallucinating. But in Onikashi, I feel like even his hallucinations, I feel like he wasn't just making up a lot of stuff that the characters were saying. I think it was just his, like, interpretation of what they were saying, the things he was thinking about it, you know? So, like, I don't want to say that I think Rena literally didn't say that, but there's some kind of meaning in there that Keiichi is obviously, and even us as the reader right now with the presentation of this, are misunderstanding, you know what I mean? Like, because, like, you could almost take this line as her trying to convince Keiichi to not go murder Teppei. You know what I mean? Like, her trying to tell him, like, yeah, I mean, he's here, and that's just reality. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't mean she has to have memories from another timeline, right? Mion and Rena, they were my friends, and were seriously worried about Satoko's abuse, weren't they? They would never blurt out something like this. And I definitely killed Satoko's uncle. No matter what Satoko or anyone else says, I wouldn't acknowledge it, because him being alive was impossible. There's no way he was alive. It was impossible. And yet, since Satoko herself said he was here, then he was alive. I didn't know why or how, but suddenly, Mion and Rena were at my side, standing there silently.
帰ろうよ、ケイちゃん。
帰ったらね、今日は久しぶりにレナ、宝探しに行くつもりなんだ。
Okay, sounds good.
兄ちゃんも来
Sounds
るんだよ。
good. Sounds good to me. Let's go.
ケイちゃんも一緒に行こう。
Maybe we can go treasure hunting, like, by the side of the road. Like, right there. There's a street light there, like, right in the like, right a little bit into the forest in there, you know, off the road. We can go maybe bring a shovel and, like, dig a little bit, you know? We can go treasure hunting there. How's that sound?
もちろん拒否権はないからね。
No, they know. Okay, no. Yeah. It's just like Onikashi. It's just like Onikashi. They know what's going on with Keiichi, right? I don't think if there is weird timeline stuff going on, I don't think they know about it. If words could freeze blood, then there was no doubt that they would have frozen me solid. I could hear it, a strange sound, like a layer of thin ice spreading, emanating from every joint in my body. And with them closely at my sides, we left for school, as if they were police officers taking me away. They talked about silly things the entire way home, like they always did, but they always stood at my sides, as if to prevent me from escaping. This was strange. It's also, you could say, like, again, if we're going with this weird timeline stuff, and we're saying it's almost like someone's piecing together, like, a timeline that's, like, good or something, right? It kind of makes sense they would want to undo what Keiichi did, because it was fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, Keiichi's idea about wanting to return everything to the way it was wasn't going to work. You know what I mean? Everything about this day was strange. Actually, it had been strange ever since the previous night. Yes, thinking back, it had been strange ever since killing Satoko's uncle. That creepy meeting with Takano-san was only the beginning. If anyone's in control of this weird timeline stuff, I can imagine it being Takano, you know? That insane night was still continuing. Yes, it still hadn't ended.
何？どうしたのケイちゃん。急に立ち止まったりして。
Are we there?
ごめん。なんでもないよ。
When I stopped, it was distant, but I definitely heard them. Oh, an extra set of footsteps. That was proof. Proof that insane night hadn't ended. Mion left where she usually did, and finally we came to my house.
じゃあね、ケイチくん。お家で待っててね。
Yes, ma'am.
レナ、すぐに迎えに行くから。
What was it? She was inviting me along on one of her oversized garbage treasure hunts at the dam site, right? But why now? Mion coming along was strange too. Mion may have accepted Rena's little hobby, but she hated fishing through garbage, so she'd never come with her before. And the location specifically being the dam site was a little creepy. The dam construction site was completely outside the flow of everyday life. It was so remote that no one ever went there unless they thought to in particular. Nobody lived there, and there were no lights, so at night it got dark very quickly. I was being forcibly invited there. There was no reason I had to fear Rena and Mion. Besides, wouldn't the trouble I'd make by refusing them be a pain to deal with? In that way, it didn't seem like going treasure hunting with them was a bad idea. But that insane night was continuing. Haven't the sirens of instinct been wailing in my mind for a while now? Warning me that Rena and Mion were strange. That I needed to be cautious. The warning sirens were so freaking loud, it felt like my head would split in two.
あ、レナ、俺、実はちょっと用事があるんだ。
No, 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 no.
何の？
Gonna go check on the body?
なんのって、用事だよ、用事。
用事なら、なんでみーちゃんがいるうちに言ってくれなかったの？みーちゃんとはダム現場で待ち合わせって言って別れちゃった後なのに。
And of course, like, they were gonna want him to go do... Like, if in their mind they think, okay, Keiichi's losing his mind, he's going crazy, he's gonna murder someone, of course they ain't gonna want him to go do something, right? Like, Rena was smiling, but her words made her discomfort clear.
ごめん。ちょっと、言い出すタイミングを逃しちゃって。
本当に？
You're lying, aren't you? You just made that up now, you liar. That's what Rena's eyes said to me.
俺、頭が痛いんだ。
That's okay.
風邪かもしれない。
Well, let's go to my house. We eat some medicine.
だから、病院に行って薬をもらってきたいんだよ。
本当に？
Oh, that really wasn't a lie. My head did hurt a little bit, so I wasn't lying. Rena, she couldn't figure out if my head hurt or not, just by looking at it.
なら仕方ないね。
After staring at me in the eyes for a few moments, she fired a sharp, needle-like stare at me. The tension in my body loosened, and I felt my knees might buckle, as
診療
always.
所に行くなら。
Oh, going to the clinic. Yeah, let's go to the clinic. Let's go to Irie Clinic. Let's go. No, that's probably where they, you know, let's get an injection. How's that sound? That might be your treatment for your headache.
あそこ、たまに早く閉まるから。
ありがとう。そうするよ。
必ず行くんだよ。
Literally.
病院。
Yeah, let's go. Let's get going.
行くよ。
本当に行くんだよ。
行く。
It seemed like Rena had realized that I was going to refuse her invitation for a while now. With how serious she looked, she might actually call the clinic later to make sure I went. I couldn't say anything careless. Lying about getting checked out was just an excuse to decline her request in the first place. It didn't matter whether I actually went.
ちゃんと行くよ。なんなら明日、病院のレシート持って行ってもいい。
それいいね。必ずもらっておいてね。
Oh, God.
レナ、明日見るから。
Uh-huh. Another tingle started crawling up my back. There's no ignoring it. Rena and Mion had been monitoring my movements. This wasn't normal. Far from it. All of it was insane. I did what I did because I wanted my peaceful life back. But what on earth was all of this? It was far from peaceful. Something had gone mad, leaving the world out of order. With the other Keiichi Maibara, with those creepy footsteps I've been hearing. With Rena and Mion acting so curious. And above all, with him being alive. The other Keiichi Maibara. Where was I? Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. I knew that much. Was this really the Hinamizawa I knew?
おい、前原圭一。ここは、どこなんだ?
Literally. I asked, whipping around before the front door, to face the one who had been following in my wake all day. Nobody would have been there, of course. Keiichi Maibara, huh? That's what I just called him. Called the one who'd been trailing me behind this whole time. The shadowy presence, always clinging to me. Like it was constantly watching for the opportunity to change places. Footsteps always following me was another impossibility. It couldn't have been a ghost, so it was just impossible. So the strangeness must have been my ears, my head, or Hinamizawa. Interesting, okay. Entertaining the idea of hallucinations even more. Everything I could see was the same exact Hinamizawa I knew so well, and that gave me the creeps. Eventually I decided to actually go to the clinic. Not gonna check on the body, I really didn't want to go outside, but a stronger feeling than that desire was the fear Rena might actually be keeping an eye on me to see if I went to the hospital. But before I went to the clinic, there was something I wanted to make sure of. Oh, it was at school. The bat! I pretended I'd forgotten something, and I was going back to the classroom to pick it up. As soon as the thought crossed my mind, I was overwhelmed by paranoia. I was just going to the classroom, but I hated it so much, having to be so careful to fake it. After carefully verifying that nobody else was watching, I went over to the locker. Yes, Satoshi's locker. I committed the crime with the bat I found in this locker, Satoshi's bat. And then, I had thrown the bat into the swamp, which meant the bat shouldn't have been inside. But, what if the bat was still in here? It was a very dreadful, incomprehensible idea, but if it was true, it would explain a lot. If the bat was in here, yesterday's events would have all been an delusion. No, an illusion. I hadn't killed anyone, and I'd gone to the festival. I had a great time rampaging about with everyone. And that just, that is just so beyond the hallucinations that I can, like, accept. You know what I mean? Like, that's so far beyond Onikashi, like him hallucinating an Onikashi, you know? It would prove that Keiichi Maibara was really me. Proof that I was only under some strange assumption that I had killed Satoko's uncle. Proof that it had all been a wild fantasy. That would explain everything. Nothing happened yesterday. I had just gone mad, unable to separate my shocking uncle-killing dream from reality. That would explain everything. If the bat was here, would I be able to accept that reality? If it was here, nothing will have changed. I think the bat not being here would be more crazy. If it was here, it would just mean I'd gone crazy. Could have given him an answer, right? Preparing myself for the worst, I opened the locker door. I was actually scared of opening it slowly, so I threw it open with a bang. And just like the first time, the choking scent of smell and sweat, like a stale towel, came flowing out. There was a baseball uniform, and some miscellaneous other things, like notebooks. There was also a shoe pouch, and as for the bat, it wasn't here. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know at all. I have no idea. Because it's really just Satoko, right? Okay, that's here. That's like the middle of one of my thoughts. I gotta start a little bit earlier than that. So, two options still. Weird timeline stuff going on, which is a hard pill to swallow. That's a rough one. Or his friends were making all of this shit up to cover for him because they know he killed Teppei, right? It's Satoko. Satoko's the issue with that, right? Satoko's the issue with that because she certainly still seems to be saying Teppei's around, right? You know what I mean? Like, why would she be making that up? Well, no, I know why she'd be making that up because of her mindset about the whole it being like a trial for Satoshi to come back, right? But would she really, like, but then she'd be faking the fact that her uncle was being terrible to her this morning? That'd be crazy, right? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, maybe if she's truly gone insane from the abuse, which I guess is possible, right? No, we have to confirm if Teppei's actually around or not, right? Like, because if Teppei actually is dead, everything makes so much more sense. As for Satoko, I don't know, but the only reason why I'm not fully on board with the idea that they are making all of this up to try and cover for Keiichi, is Satoko saying that her uncle is still around, right? We just have to confirm whether or not her uncle is still around, right? The bat not being there is certainly on the, it's another tally for the side of they're making all of this stuff up to cover for him. You know what I mean? Because of course they knew what he was going to do last night. At least Mion does, and by extension I assume Rena would as well. It was how I left it when I took the bat out. There was no doubt. Yesterday really happened. Now that I knew I wasn't a lunatic, I felt relieved. But at the same time, if I wasn't the crazy one, then Hinamizawa was. And that was evidence of a reality I found just as difficult to accept. There was a noise, somehow, creeping into everything I saw, and the world was losing a tiny bit of color. So what did I know about last night now? Now that I'd made sure the bat wasn't there, I didn't need to be here anymore. Shall I go? Of course, it's also possible the bat's not there for some other fucking reason, and we are in a different timeline, but if that's the truth, then you win, author. There's no way for me to know. Shall I go? For real. To the hospital. It was my first time going to the hospital, but from what I had heard, it wasn't far from school. My mom had told me where it was. A big, easy-to-see road went straight there. I went past the shopping street, made a turn. It wasn't overly hard to spot the sign with Irie Clinic written on it. Good old Irie Clinic. There was one other person, an older man. There in the air-conditioned waiting room. Will Takano be here, or is she gone? I went to the counter and told them it was my first time here. The man behind the counter glanced at the clock and said there would be a short wait. It was almost 5. Clinic hours would be ending soon. I sat in this unfamiliar waiting room, isolated from everyone, and let myself feel the cool air. I actually felt relieved. What should I tell the doctor when he comes? Yeah, what are you gonna tell Irie, huh? Kantaku. I could tell him I had a cold, but I was the very picture of health. Actually, I wanted him to check my head. I wanted someone to confirm to me whether I was really sane or not. What's up, Irie? Huh? The voice, from the other side of the examination curtain. I thought I'd heard it somewhere before. What is up, buddy?
ここでお会いするのは監督ってお医者さんだったんですか?
Can you talk to him? I don't know. Now that you mention it, he did seem to know his way around when he was looking at my shoulder in the nurse's office. It would make sense if he actually was a doctor. Come to think of it, our teacher called him Irie-sensei, didn't she?
一応お医者さんなんかやっています。
What do you mean, more or less?
お医者さんはいいですよ。若いすべすべなお肌を見放題の
Not time for that. It is not time for that.
怪しいお注射で自由を奪って私だけの専属メイドに。
Like, you could probably lose your medical license just for saying those words out loud.
ありがとうございました。
What do you mean thank you? What do you mean thank you?
今のを見てただけで失礼します。ペコリ。わったったった。前原さん。冗談です。
Okay, alright. Okay.
座って診察させてください。聴診器を当てますから。前原さんの
Alright, nope, he's leaving. He's leaving. He's getting up, he's out of here. He's gone. For some reason, I felt really relieved. After that insane night, as much as I thought everything had gone crazy, Coach was just doing the same thing he always did, and I was happy for that.
風邪ではないようですね。むしろ全身の擦り傷や切り傷の方が
Scrapes and cuts all over, huh? Yeah.
ひょっとして半袖半ズボンで藪の中に入って遊びましたか?
Something like that.
切り傷から破傷風菌が入った可能性もないとは言えませんし。
As I was chasing that man last night, I'd kept being scraped by bits of trees. I didn't realize I had so many cuts.
昨日のお祭りではしゃぎすぎましたね。若いというのは
Was he there too? And once again, I apparently went to the festival.
監督も行ったんですよね。お祭り。ええ、もちろんですよ。私こう見えても綿流しの実行委員会の役員ですからね。俺に会いましたか?
The coach was the same coach that I'd always known, and I felt like I could trust him way more than my weird friends. My weird friends, so I asked.
実は私、本部テントでずっと
Oh, okay. It's right. No confirmation from another person, right?
全然お祭りは見て回ってないんですよ。前原さんには会ってないと思います。そうですか。変わった質問をしましたね。ひょっとして今日寝不足ですか?
He sure didn't.
いけませんよ。成長期はよく食べよく寝て育つんですから。
Yeah, I gotta keep your skin smooth. Coach let out a laugh. He didn't laugh in an unnatural way, like Mion and Rena did. Coach was okay. He was the coach from the world I knew. He wasn't someone from this abnormal world.
こんな話、きっと変だと思うんですけど。
So Keiichi brings up the idea of feeling like he's going crazy. Irie might know. I mean, if Mion and Rena suspect Keiichi of having this crazy shit making him go crazy, they probably told Irie about it, right? Because he was kind of, they said at the end of Orikachi that they called the Kansoku, yeah, all of that stuff, right? So, like, Irie is the one behind the syringe and all of this, so he's gonna, like, know, you know what I mean?
笑わないで聞いてほしいんです。
ねえ、どうぞ。思春期のシャイな悩み、大いに歓迎ですよ。
Right.
俺とウリ二つな人間がいるなんて
That is
あ
not.
りえますか？
Keiichi, that is not what I thought you were going to ask. Are you fucking stupid? What? Okay. Coach hadn't expected that question at all, and I couldn't say anything for a moment. But then he smiled calmly and quietly answered, what a fucking like, Keiichi, what the hell, man?
迷信ですが、世界には自分と全く同じ
Sure,
顔をした人があと2人いる。
8 billion people out there, right? I guess probably fucking 6 billion back then, but...
いるならぜひお会いしてみたいものですが。あと、おとぎ話にも自分の分身が登場する話がいろいろありますよ。ドイツのおとぎ話に出てくるドッペルのお化けなどは有名です。
ドッペルのお化け？
ええ、自分の姿にウリ二つなんだそうです。
I don't think that's what's going on at all. Keiichi, I wish you would tell him, oh, I think I'm going crazy. I wish you would tell him that.
不幸の前触れなんだそうで、これにあってしまうと
Ooh.
近いうちに死んでしまうみたいな話らしいですよ。
When you meet them, you're sure to die soon. Well, he hasn't met them. They're following him, but the story ended directly in death, plain and simple, and it made my spine tingle. Coach wasn't saying it to scare me, though. He was just offering a casual anecdote, and that made it feel all the more real.
そのお化けがひなみ沢に出るなんて話はありますか？
No.
さて、どうでしょう。
Coach must have thought he was being teased, so he laughed in an exaggerated way. But when I didn't smile along with him, his laughter steadily grew fainter.
すみません。ちょっと真面目な話のつもりだったんで。
いえ、こっちこそ笑ってすみませんでした。何か気になることでもおありですか？
There sure is. I wondered if I should tell him. Then, after resolving myself one final time, I slowly spoke.
俺、昨日はお祭りに行っていないんです。
Gonna tell him, huh?
そうでしたか。お祭りは来年もあります。その時また。
そうじゃなくて。
Hey, Keiichi, come on, calm down.
俺は祭りに行っていないのに、みんなが言うには、俺は祭りにいたらしいんですよ。こんなことってあるんですか？
After blinking his eyes in amazement, Coach thought seriously about what I was trying to say. And he answered, choosing his words carefully.
お話を整理しますね。つまり前原君は綿流しのお祭りに行ったけど、その記憶が
No, not quite. He remembers doing something else. I was trying to say something completely different, but I suppose any sane person would come to that conclusion. That night, Keiichi Mabaru was actually at the festival, but I was saying I didn't go. That obviously meant my memories of going there had failed me. But that was absolutely impossible. The vivid act I had committed during the downpour couldn't possibly have been an illusion. All these scrapes on my body prove it, as does the fact the bat wasn't in the locker.
いえ、違うんです、監督。俺は本当に祭りに行っていないんです。
気を悪くしないでくださいよ、前原さん。前原さんにはこれまでに気づいたら見知らぬ場所にいたとか、そういう記憶の欠落を経験されたことがありますか？
I don't think so, right? I'm trying to think of anything like that, you know? Obviously, Irie's asking that because he thinks Keiichi's having, like, memory problems, right? But, like, that genuinely, that is something interesting. I can't think of anything like that, right? Well, we have had experiences where we're suddenly somewhere unfamiliar and can't remember why, which is the start of every game. But I don't know.
ないです。それに記憶を失ったとかそういうのじゃない。だってその祭りの時間には別の用事を確かにやっていましたから、寝てて意識がなかったとかそういうのじゃありません。
その用事は間違いなく。
Yeah.
大変失礼ですが、何かの思い込みでなく。
間違いありません。完全にはっきりとした記憶、いや事実です。
お祭りの時間に
Doing something somewhere else.
別の用事をしていた。
What would that happen to be exactly?
それをはっきりした形で証明
And you go check the body. That's right. Thinking it through brought me to this. There's only one way to prove that I really wasn't at the festival yesterday, and that was to show that there was no doubt I had killed her uncle. Coach saw me struggling to answer, and his eyes looked a little cold. I guess they would. After all, from Coach's perspective, I was just a weirdo sputtering nonsense. Or he knows. He knows.
少し横になりましょうか。心を落ち着けて楽にしましょう。
別に横になりに来たわけじゃありません。遠慮します。
少し神経に高ぶりがあるようです。鎮静剤を注射して。
Ooh, in a syringe, perhaps, huh?
俺は異常者じゃない。
You kinda are, Keiichi, but okay. I realized the coach was treating me like I was a deviant, so I raised my voice.
気に障ったなら謝ります。ですからどうか落ち着いて。
He can't calm down.
俺は絶対に祭りには行っていない。それは本当に間違いないんです。
Hmm.
分かってます。分かってますから、どうか落ち着いて深呼吸を。
あんたは全然分かっていない。
Yeah, I don't think anyone's gonna understand. Coach was stunned and stared in stupefaction. Okay, sure.
分かっていますよ、前原さん。
Do you
あな
understand?
たは昨日はお祭りに来なかった。
Does he understand, though?
私は信じます。信じますよ。
Coach jotted down a brief note in his records. He was writing it in German, so that his patient wouldn't know what it said. Oh, interesting. Okay. But I could make a good guess of what he wrote. This kid's insane. That's what he wrote down.
何をしていたか全部話さないと信じませんか。
いいえ、信じますから。
Hmm.
どうか。
Because he knows stuff, so he might believe him. Before I sat, I tilted my head back a little. The blood on my face all drained out, and I quieted down. After taking a deep breath, I made sure that I was calm now.
俺が祭りの会場にいることはありえない。なぜなら、その時間に俺は。
Should I tell him or not? I really didn't want to go on living like this, feeling this horrible. And I said them, the final fatal words.
サトコの王子を殺していたからです。
Okay. Alright. I could smell the concrete in the room. I could feel the air around us sharpen. Nobody moved. Only the sound of the clock ticking told us time hadn't stopped. With his mouth wide open, Coach even forgot to blink for a little while.
あなたがサトコちゃんのおじさんを。
Yeah. It's fine now, Keiichi Maibara. Don't hesitate. Admit it with all your strength.
はい、俺が昨日の夜殺しました。
I spoke clearly and fluidly. I could easily tell that Coach's mind had gone completely blank.
どうして。
Why do you think? Why do you think?
いえ、それは。
Yeah.
疑問ですね。
サトコを救う最も直接的な方法だと考えるに至り、後悔はわずかもありません。
I believe it.
そうですか。
Coach smiled thinly and nodded a bit.
だから俺は祭りの会場にいるわけがないんです。
I left the brightness of my house for the darkness of the outside. After that, I dug holes, made phone calls. I had my hands full. And then I attacked him, killed him, and buried him. It was pouring hard at the time. The festival started that evening, but was suspended due to the rain. Is he gonna tell about Takano? He better not tell him about Takano. Because he's not supposed to. I'm worried about that. There were no gaps in my memories. From the late afternoon until it started to rain, there was no time for me to have possibly gone to the festival.
その体中の傷は。
Yeah, and he has the wounds, Yeah.
そうです。サトコの家を少し行ったところに林道がありますよね。あそこで襲い、逃げるあいつを追い、町に至る一本道で殺すに至りました。
Oh.
それは本当に。
Killing her uncle, it wasn't some wild fantasy. I could tell that Coach didn't believe me. So I spoke slowly, not letting myself grow excited.
本当です。サトシのバットで殴り殺しました。そのバットはあいつが乗ってきたバイクと一緒に沼に捨てました。死体は殺した場所に穴を掘り埋めました。すべて自分が一人でやりま
But
した。
is there gonna be evidence? Is it gonna...
さとこちゃんのおじはバイクで通りかかったんですね。ではあなたはそれを期待して延々と待ち伏せを。
Yeah.
あいつが家から出ないことは想定していました。だから電話で適当な嘘を喋ってあいつが出かけるように仕向けました。
電話で呼び出した。でも
From the school.
あな
From
た
the
の家
school.
とさとこちゃんの家は離れています。電話をしてからではとても待ち伏せに間に合わないのでは。
襲撃予定場所から最も近い電話として学校の電話を使いました。
でも前原さん、当日は日曜日です。
Snuck in after someone
学
else.
校には施錠がされていて入れないのでは。
偶然その時営林署の人が中に出入りしたんです。その隙に入りました。
After that, Coach grilled me on a few different things regarding the incident. He made sure to question me carefully, looking for any contradictions in my account.
信じましょう。あなたが昨日したことは夢とは思えない。
I explained everything, including minor details that only someone who had actually committed the act could explain. I could, of course. It was only yesterday. And I bet Tepe's still alive somehow, so... Coach realized that my story had no expedient coincidences or too convenient details that would have existed in a daydream or a delusion, and finally seemed to want to believe me.
これでもまだ俺が記憶をなくして祭り会場に行ったと思いますか？
Coach slowly shook his head.
でもクラスのみんなが昨日確かに俺が祭りにいたと言います。そんなことがあり
Tell
得
him,
るでしょ
tell
う
him
か？
that Satoko says Tepe's still alive, too.
あるわけがない。きっとクラスの皆さんは
I know.
あなたによく似た誰
No,
かと
not that easy.
あなたを見間違えたのでしょう。
Unfortunately.
それに集団心理が働いて皆さんはあなたがお祭りにいたと錯覚してしまっているに違いありません。
I wish they couldn't have mistaken me. Mion and all the rest said they were spending time with Keiichi Maibara. It was much more than just having mistaken someone else from me. But saying that out loud would just confuse Coach. He spoke to me in whispered tones.
罪の意識はあるんですか？
It didn't sound like he was criticizing me. I wonder what Irie is gonna do. You know? And even if he had, I would have flatly said the same
あり
thing.
ません。あいつのいなかった平穏な時間を取り戻すために行いました。だから俺はあいつを殺したことなんかさっさと忘れてこれまで通りに生活するつもりです。あいつが現れる前、サトコがいつも見せてくれたあの笑
It
顔に
won't
戻って
be, though.
ようやく全て
It
が終わりま
won't
す。
be.
犯行を誰かに目撃されたということは？
Nope. Takano, I
ないと
guess.
思います。目撃されてればもうとっくに逮捕されてるでしょうか。
Well, not necessarily.
私は医者です。人の命を
Yeah.
救う職にあります。だから私から人間の命を奪うことを肯定する
But?
旨の発言はできません。だから私はあなたにこう言います。
Okay. Coach slowly rose and placed a hand on my shoulder.
さとこちゃんを
Oh, wow.
救ってくれ
Man, wow. Okay.
ありがとう。
But is he really dead? It's like, Tepe's gonna walk in and be like, oh, I'm here for a hangover. Like, what? I mean... Coach's eyes started shedding warm tears. When I looked at him, I started to feel some tears of my own. Yeah. I didn't know what I was crying for. And so, for a little while, the two men in the same room fought back their tears.
でもおかしいんです。
おかしいとは？
確かに殺したはずなのに、
Oh.
あの男は生きて家に帰ったらしいんです。
Coach's expression immediately sharpened.
状況にもよりますが、気絶や仮死状態など素人が見ると死んだようにしか見えない状態もいくつかあります。
Sure, but he wasn't. He was definitely dead.
その可能性は？
脈を取ったわけではありませんが、
Yeah, no, he was fucking dead.
前原さんが襲った時の状況を再現してもらってもいいですか？
Coach rolled up a health and fitness week poster nearby and offered it to me, to represent the bat. Oh fuck, oh god. Though I may have been lost to the emotions of a beast that night, I remembered in detail the number of times I swung the bat, the angles I had swung from, and the force I had applied. Using Coach as a stand-in for the uncle, I reproduced them over, one by one.
そしてあいつが足を取られてよろめいた時、その時 これまでとは違った手応えがありました。頭蓋骨が割れたんだと思いました。
Coach was calmly analyzing this information, using the places I'd struck and the situation at hand to find out what state the uncle's body had been in.
そして死んだかどうか自信が持てなかったので、倒れた後も何度か殴りつけました。
その時の反応は？
初めは殴るたびに体が跳ねるような感じがありましたが、やがてそれもなくなり。
And I mean, you left him lying there for a long ass time too. And you buried him. Coach folded his arms and said, a few times. Then he spoke.
死んでいます。ほぼ間違いなく。
それは仮死状態ではなく、
前原さんの話からだけではなかなか判断がつきませんが、ほぼ確実だと思います。それに前原さんは死体を泥の中に
Yeah.
結構な時間をかけて埋めていますよね。仮に30分で埋めたとして、
Plus the time he was just lying there.
その男は30分間も泥水に
He would
沈
be
められて
dead
いた
for
ことに
sure.
なります。
Yeah.
それだけの時間、呼吸が止められたら確実に脳死します。
He accidentally killed someone else. It wasn't Tepe. It was some random person, some random dude on a motorcycle.
殴った強さ以前に埋める過程で確実に絶命したと。
そういうことです。30分間泥に埋められていて生きていられる人などありえません。
Yeah.
ありえないですよね。でも聡子は生きてると。
Coach, a doctor, just gave a stamp of approval that he was dead for sure. That made it seem all the more unfair that he could still be among the living. Of course, unless he's just not alive, right? I can imagine Satoko saying he's alive when he's not.
前原さん、これはとても恐ろしい想像
That
な
it
の
was
ですが、
someone else.
前原さんが殺した相手が叔父でなく、
No, it was, right? I mean, the motor, didn't he, like, recognize the motorcycle? He's right. That could be why. It cleared up the inconsistency of my definitely having killed someone, but him still being alive.
そんなはずはない。だってほら、監督と一緒に聡子の家の前で酒瓶の袋を運んで、
Okay, right, sure,
窓から
yeah.
顔を出した男がいたじゃないですか。あいつですよね。聡子の叔父は。
ええ、間違いありませんよ。
Yeah.
あの男です。
実はもう一人叔父がいるなんてことは。
No.
聞いたことがありません。あの男だけです。
あいつの特徴を教えてもらえますか。
Blonde hair, I assume.
まず身長がですね、175。
Okay. I don't remember how tall he said. In order to eliminate the worst possibility that I killed someone else, Coach began to thoroughly compare what the man in his mind looked like with what I told him the person I killed looked like. But no matter how in-depth my description went, none of the characteristics differed, yeah. The uncle's traits, according to Coach, were all exactly the same as the person I'd killed. But his traits were all extremely vague, and they weren't particularly distinct at a glance.
もっとこう、絶
body,
対にあいつだと
the
証明
body.
できる特徴はありませんか。
そういえば、私は見たことありませんが、
His motorcycle?
聡子ちゃんが昔、背中に虎だかなんだかの入れ墨がある。
Didn't he?
なんて
I
言
don't
ってい
remember
た
if we
よう
heard
な気
anything
が
about
しま
that.
す。
入れ墨。
That was really important. Not everyone had a tattoo. Check the body for it. If I found a tiger tattoo on the back of the man's corpse, it would be proof I'd killed the right one. At the moment, though, there was one other thing that would verify this. To go to Satoko's house and see for myself the uncle that had returned home despite having died. But that was far more terrifying than digging up the body and looking at its back. Is it? I don't know. Those are pretty equally terrifying to me. Without even looking at the tattoo, I knew for sure the one I'd killed had been Satoko's uncle. I cracked his head open and killed him. And yet, he'd gone back home. There wasn't any misunderstanding or even the shadow of a doubt in my mind about having killed him. And yet, it was impossible for him to exist. Kind of like how Keiichi Maibara had been at the festival, despite it being impossible. That small commonality made me feel as though a faint but bizarre force was permeating this insane Hinamizawa.
どういうことなのでしょう。
Literally.
前原さんはお祭りには行かず、聡子ちゃんのおじさんを殺していたにもかかわらず、お祭りにはあなたがいて、そして殺したはずのおじさんも生きている。
何がなんだかさっぱりわからないです。
Literally. How about Keiichi, about you lie down, we'll give you an injection real quick. Quick syringe.
そうやって整理して言うと、まるで俺が悪い夢を見ていて、実は殺人なんて存在しなかったんじゃないかと思えてしまう。でも事実なんです。この手でバットで ガツンガツンと殴ったあの感触は絶対に夢や幻なんかじゃないんです。
Yeah. Coach let out a slow sigh, then after looking at the clock, got up.
ちょっとこの話もう少し真剣にやりましょう。ちょっと失礼して、診療所も終わりの時間ですからね。
Okay.
ジムの方とかも返してあげないと。
Coach stood up and went out into the hallway, leaving me alone. The clock was about to strike 6. I was at the festival, and the uncle I'd killed was alive. Had I really committed the murder yesterday? The only whisper of a fact that proved it happened was the absence of that bat from Satoshi's locker. In any case, I was glad that Coach had taken my nonsense seriously. I just confessed to murder. Normally, that would frighten a person away. But Coach didn't run. He cried with me, and I was glad he did. Like so, my tension smoothly melted away, and I suddenly realized I really had to urinate. I thought to use the restroom while Coach had stepped out. There was one across from the waiting room. Oh god. As soon as I left the room, I saw Coach and 2 male doctors wearing white clothing standing in the shadows of the hallway nearby. I didn't particularly intend to eavesdrop or anything, but I was quite surprised upon noticing how uneasy they seemed. Oh, fuck. I hid behind the wall and quietly listened in. It seemed like Coach was giving directions to the 2 doctors.
紅茶ですね。用意します。
睡眠導入剤を入れて。
Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh, fuck me. God damn it. Fuck, no. Keiichi's gonna lose his mind. But, no, but Irie has to know what's going on. Irie knows something, about what's going on right now. He knows. If he is the one who made the syringe and knows what it is and what it does, with this thing that makes people go crazy, he knows Keiichi's being affected by it right now, then yeah, God, fucking, fuck. Fuck.
味はミルクと砂糖でごまかしてください。
急激な眠気に不信感を抱く可能性もあります。
Now it'd be too late then, right?
興奮状態に陥って暴れ出す可能性も。
その場合は、男性スタッフはまだ何人
Oh god.
山犬が1人、それに私たちを含めて3人です。
What was all this? I think I was already agitated, despite what Coach said. Was that it? Was it just a casual conversation? It was only sounding unbelievable to me? Coach said he would bring some black tea and left the room. And then, in the shadows, he was telling his subordinates to put some kind of sleeping powder in the tea. Plus, they were getting extra help, in case I thought the sudden sleepiness was suspicious and started getting violent. Hey, wait, Keiichi Maibara. Calm down, calm down. There's no way something this stupid could be happening. I mean, he was genuinely listening to my story, and he even cried with me. I thought he was the one person in Hinamizawa who would understand. I think he does understand. You don't understand. This was...
作り話か虚言の兆候があり、特に昨日の記憶が完全に混乱。虚実の区別を喪失。
No, oh god. I don't know if Irie really believes that.
多重人格等の精神障害に
I don't know if Irie believes that. I don't know if Irie believes that at all, honestly, because he could be hiding this from the doctors too, right? This weird stuff with the syringe and all of that.
でも、こんな急激な精神障害の発症は
Fuck.
普通では考えられません。あるいは先天的、もしくは
I don't know. I just don't
そう
know.
いう兆候があったのか。引っ越し前に精神科に通院例がないか、とにかく前原さんには穏便にお休みいただきます。
The 2 doctors nodded deeply.
前原さんのご両親にも連絡しておいた方が良いです。
Man.
何と言えばいいか言葉が思いつきませんが、彼の自宅の電話番号を調べてくだ
Oh
さい。
god, no. Keiichi isn't gonna let him do that. My eyes, still moist, began to shed tears once more. This was too cruel. I really thought he had actually understood, and had believed what I'd told him. But now, from the other side of that wall, he was bluntly treating me like a crazy person. It's such a switch-up, right? Because he was, like, explaining Satoko's uncle and all this stuff, you know. So no, I just don't think for a second that this is reality, that he really, that Irie really thinks this is what's going on with Keiichi. I just don't believe it. I believed you. I believed you. I had let down my guard, because I thought you were the only ally I had left after that insane night. Was that a lie? All that, about thanking me on Satoko's behalf, were you just pretending in order to keep me placated? Placated. My tears fell to the floor in frustration. I was an idiot. I was such an idiot for believing that bastard. I heard footsteps approaching the doctors. A man in a dress shirt with no tie came running up.
Irie sensei.
Okay.
大変です。高野さんが見つかりました。
Oh.
高野さんが
She faked her death. Yeah.
それ
Yet
が
again.
山中で
Yeah, just like in Matanagashi.
死んだ
Takano-sanがですか?
The men, all surprised, exchanged glances. Dead? Takano-san? Hey, wait, so then, does that mean when I cursed her, wishing for her death, that wish was granted? Oh, fuck.
それは事故ですか?
県警の発表では他殺の可能性が極めて高いと。
No, oh god. I don't know. Ugh, ha ha ha. As I cried, I laughed quietly. Serves you right, serves you right. If I hadn't run into that woman, my murder would have been perfect. But she just had to come driving up to me and try to coerce me like that. I regretted not having killed her on the spot, but now she was dead anyway. My curse, my wish for her demise, it was fulfilled. Serves you right, serves you right. Risa? 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 Who the hell is Risa? That's not Takano. I mean, not Tomitake. Okay. Who the hell is Risa?
まさかこれが今年のお社様のたたりだなんて言うんじゃないでしょうね。
Like hell, I'll let the curse be real, Coach said. Everyone present just nodded as Coach cursed at no one in particular. Cuckoo. Yes, maybe it wasn't Oishiro-sama, but there's definitely a spell, a curse. I wished for her to die, so she did. If this wasn't just a coincidence, and she died because I wished for it, then you'll die next, Coach. You betrayed me. You pretended to believe me, but deep down you thought I was a madman. I don't think so. No, I think Coach knows what's going on here. You look down on me with all that pity in your eyes.
では、とりあえず紅茶の準備を。紅茶は私が持って入ります。私以外には彼は
What's Keiichi gonna do? Just start going insane? Shit. What do I do? What do I do, Keiichi Maibara? This time I heard the voice of a nurse.
Irie 先生。あ、いらっしゃいましたか。お電話です。
Okay.
今ちょっと忙しいので。
Who's it from? Oishi calling about Takano's death?
誰からです?
Yeah, yep. That's what I fucking thought.
悪いタイミングですね。出ます。
Coach left to go answer the phone. The other men headed towards the room with the teapot to make the black tea, like Coach had ordered them to. Fortunately, Coach having to take that phone call meant there would be an extra time for me to act. Go out the window? I had to decide what to do now. Would I let him make me drink this sedative-infused tea, or be held down and thrown into a mental hospital? Nothing would come from starting a brawl here. They had more people anyway, and they were all bigger than me. If it came to a fight, I didn't stand a chance in hell. If I couldn't win against them, then there was only one thing left to do. Run. Adrenaline suddenly rushed into my brain, and my body started to move with keen instinct like it had on that night. My surface temperature quickly cooled, and the transmission routes between my cells enlarged. Using 360-degree visual information, I searched for an escape route. I would open the window behind me, exactly. Outside was a parking lot. There were no cars. A little beyond that was the bicycle I had taken to get here. I determined that this would be the quickest method of escape. I approached the window swiftly, but with little sound, to raise as little suspicion as I could. With the speed and silence of a shadow, like I'd had on that night I chased her uncle. I unlocked the window and opened it up. A cool evening breeze wafted in. Oh, I stuck my head out and looked over the parking lot again. Nobody in sight. No need to hesitate. I quietly crawled outside and closed the window behind me. I held my breath and listened carefully. Nobody seemed to have realized I'd run. I looked around. Then, I jumped onto my bicycle and zoomed away. Fuck, dude, fuck. Someone needs to eject this kid. Like, god damn it. Oh, shit. The pedals clattered under the force. Had my bike always creaked like this? Did the pedals always whine every time I pushed down on them? My bike wasn't the only one crying, though. My tears fell as the wind cut through them. They rode the breeze and scattered behind me. Ugh. I hate this. I'm not the crazy one. Hinamizawa is. How dare you treat me like a madman? Die. Just fucking die already. I believed you. Whoa. I'd gone to the hospital in order to escape Rona and Mion's invitation. But the reality that was waiting for me had been too cruel. Who was insane? Me or Hinamizawa? Or was the answer something else? I started having trouble breathing. I didn't have any clue what was happening anymore. The loud chirps of the Higurashi were irritating me. Were even the Hinamizawa Higurashi I knew so well calling into the wind? No, that wasn't quite it. They weren't calling. They were crying. The pain wailing of those lost in some kind of rhythm, in another world, no longer able to return to their own sunlight. I didn't do all that to end up in a world like that. And actually, at about this time, I might have been having fun with everyone else. Satoko would have gotten her smile back after realizing her uncle wouldn't ever come home, and she might have shown it to us at our first club meeting in a while. That was the kind of world I wished for. What fucking happened? What fucking happened? So, what was this? Why did I end up in such a strange, ghastly world? Someone I'd killed was living like normal, and I had enjoyed myself at the festival despite not being there. I don't want it. I don't want this strange world. When did it start going wrong? When? When? No matter how much I thought about it, I never understood. I rode swiftly and returned to my home. It began to rain during my journey back, and just like yesterday, I was now soaked. But I didn't care about something so trivial right now. The pain I felt in my heart that Coach, the one person I trusted, was acting so cruelly, was far worse. I have no allies. Did I have no allies in Inamizawa anymore? With the naive thought that I at least wanted my parents to side with me, I stepped up to the front door, and Oishi's there. Wait, Keiichi. It'll be dark soon. There's something you want to check, right? Really? I guess. Yes. I went to dig up that man's corpse and get a look at his back. If there was a tiger tattoo there, I would know beyond a doubt he was Satoko's uncle. That long night wouldn't end until I was certain. If this insane world was all reparation, all a divine punishment, then I needed to make certain whether I had been successful enough to even deserve to pay that price. I went to the storage room again to get the shovel. It had been washed in the rain, but the paint was peeling, making it look unsightly. I never, ever wanted to touch this thing again. The sensation of it in my hands was totally different from the night before. There was a ruthless coldness about it. Yeah. It would be dark soon, so I'd need the lantern too. There would be a little bit of light from the streetlights, but it would get extremely dark. I thought I'd put the lantern here, but I suddenly noticed there wasn't anyone to be found. Yeah, remember when I fucking talked about the lantern? He left the lantern there. If he left the fucking lantern right where he buried the body, turned on. Fuck, dude. Like, fuck. Like, then it hit me like a bolt of lightning. Of course. On that night, I hadn't brought the lantern back with me. Thank you. Oh my god. I had left it at the place where I buried the body. If I didn't get to it soon, it would be very dark. And then, not only would I be unable to find the spot where I buried the corpse, but I wouldn't be able to find the lantern itself. If that happened, it was all over. In order to fit the shovel in the basket on the front of my bike, I needed to twist it and disassemble it. But it looked like there was some dirt in the joints, and no matter how hard I pushed, it didn't want to come apart. After a strenuous effort, I realized I couldn't get it apart, so I decided to hold it in one hand and ride my bike with the other. Around to Takano again, with the downpour soaking me through, and a shovel in one hand, and riding one-handed. It was as if I'd returned to that night. No, return was the wrong word. It's like you're still there. It was more like that night had never ended. The pain of the raindrops striking me was no different from then. The thing that was different was Hinamizawa. The world, and nothing else. The rain clouds were already making it dark, and now was about time for the sun to set. I could tell it would only get rapidly darker. The straight road leading to town, in the middle of it. That should be where I buried it. Yes, it was near the streetlight. On that night, too, the water from the downpour was splashing down from the streetlight's overhang like a waterfall. The pouring rain was exactly the same as it had been that night, and thus it brought my memories back into focus. He's actually still on that night right now. He's gonna go back. It's gonna be the day after the festival again. I left my bike in the brush and stepped into the forest, the ground already soaked with mud. Oh, fuck, what if the body's not there? Where had I buried him? Think. The darkness, the shadows, the water, the mud. Everything was the same. Think. And then, I spotted the lantern by a fallen, moss-covered tree. That's right, I left it right there. If I left the lantern here, then, I would have buried him over here. With the sensation of standing on the sludge, my feet remembered the spot better than my eyes did. I plunged the shovel into the ground. Ugh, it's hard. It wasn't here. I just dug it up, so it should have been softer. Oh, fuck. I stick my shovel down in a few spots to test what they feel like. One of them clearly felt deeper. I recalled where the lantern was, where the trees and things were in relation to each other, and knew that it had to be here. Okay. Under here slept that man's corpse. There would definitely be the tattoo of a tiger on his back. But if it wasn't here, then I had made a horrible mistake and killed someone completely unrelated instead. Oh, I would be more dazed at the fact that Satoko's uncle wasn't dead than I would regret having gotten someone else mixed up in this. If this insane world was punishment for the sin of committing murder, then I wouldn't be able to accept it until I killed Satoko's uncle for good. And then, without any fear, I'd attack him again. And that time, I would kill him for sure. But what if the tattoo was there? Then that would mean I'd killed Satoko's uncle. But that would be terribly strange. If I'd killed him for sure, then who is the uncle at Satoko's house this very moment? He might just not be there. He might just not be there, you know? Satoko, because I can imagine why Satoko wouldn't accept her uncle's death, you know? Or his disappearance. Impossible. I didn't even know anymore what I was using the word impossible to refer to. I'd used the words quite a few times today. If I had to make the words impossible fit just one thing, what would it be? That much was obvious to me. Yeah. I shouted, then turned behind me. There's nobody there, of course. It hadn't been bothering me for a while, but those footsteps had followed me this entire day. Even just now, an extra set of footsteps had splashed behind me. No one was actually there, no indication of anyone even. But they were there. Ooh. That's right. Thinking back, the first time I heard those footsteps was after Takano-san and I had parted. Those footsteps were my welcome into this strange, inside-out world. No one could be there. I'd get no response. Whoever it was, they just kept staring at me. It wasn't ominous, just unpleasant. After staring into empty space for a bit, as I bathed into the rain, my illogical anger slipped away. My tension loosened, and a tired feeling reared its head. I tasted this feeling that night, too. The sudden exhaustion I felt as the tension in my brain loosened. My vision quickly narrowed, and I felt like everything around me had suddenly gotten darker. I couldn't give in to this sensation. I would light what little explosives were left in my brain and force myself to keep going. I needed to dig that man up before my stamina ran out. I needed to see the tattoo on his back. I caught my suddenly ragged breath and calmed down. Then, I stuck the shovel into the soft, muddy ground again. He's not going to be there. There's going to be nobody there. There's going to be nobody there. There's going to be nobody there. I felt exactly the same as that night. The sense of digging a hole in the beach, with water coming into it every wave. What day was it today? Had I gone back to the night of Tatarigoroshi? Literally. Every strange thought that came to mind tormented me. Given my exhaustion, I didn't think I could manage to hold those thoughts back. Once the hole was deep, all illumination finally faded, blanketing my vision in jet black. It was probably the moment the sun had fully set, too. That night, I had feared the worst, and gone without using much light. My senses were so strained I couldn't see even in that darkness. But now, I didn't have that kind of strength left. I drained everything I had last night, and now the darkness would be lethal. I decided to turn on the lantern. Putting it on the first setting would make it give off a faint light. Even with how little there was, it was enough. And people wouldn't be able to see it. Wouldn't be able to see it from far away in this rain. God damn. I grabbed the chilled lantern, turned the dial with a click, and set it to the weakest light setting, and turned it on. An uncanny world of silhouettes appeared before me. A complex and strange shadowy world, created by the intricate entanglement of trees and branches. I had only turned on the light, and it was like that was all it took to make the world into something else. I let out a quick, tired breath, and wiped the liquid, neither rain nor sweat, from my brow. Then I raised the shovel into the air, and slammed it into the mud. That moment, the silhouettes surrounding me ominously all moved at once. What? Inside my head, something packed in there, something coarse but not hot or cold, was loudly rushing about. Ren and Mion are watching from the bushes. The silhouettes were all around me, looking down at me. And one of them, a silhouette bigger than the others, stepped forward.
Konbanwa.
Okay. Right.
月の綺麗な晩ですね。
Ueshi called the clinic. Keiichi ran away. Did Irie tell Ueshi where he thought Keiichi would run to? Because Keiichi told him where he buried the body. The coarseness in my brain shot through my whole spine and left me at my waist. The strength in my body all left me through my hips, and I crouched down with a splash into the sea of mud I dug myself.
目上の人にはその後に3もつけるとなおよろしいかと思いますね。そうでないと大人になってからいろいろと苦労します。
It's over. It's over. It's all over. Everything's over. Okay. Good. Good. No, good. It wasn't only Ueshi, but 5 or 6 of them in a row. Men wearing raincoats. I had no inkling that this many people had gotten so close. It was like, once I turned on the lantern, they just appeared there, sliding out of the shadows.
どうぞ。
Fuck.
私たちのことは
Fuck.
気にしないでください。 森の木立だとでも思って。
Yeah. Don't mind them.
そうです。私たちのことは気にされず、どうぞ。
Can you dig in your hole, huh? Yeah.
こんな時間にこんな土砂降りの中でそんなにも真剣にやっているんですからね。邪魔なんかしませんよ。
Oh my god.
掘っちゃってください。
No thank you, I said. When I tried to get up and turn around, 2 men blocked that route. They stood on either side of me and lifted me up with amazing strength, and threw me into the sea of mud. As I soaked in the mud bath I dug for myself, I looked up at the silhouettes looking down at me. Ueshi squatted, picked up my shovel, and threw it at my feet for me. It bounced loudly off the mud and hit me in the face. Awesome.
ほら、続きをどうぞ。続きを。
I couldn't bear the oppressiveness of the silhouette surrounding me, and slowly, I stuck the shovel into the mud again. I felt like I was digging my own grave. Like, yeah, thanks. If I kept digging, it wouldn't matter whether there was a tattoo or not, because that man's corpse would appear eventually. What if it doesn't? What if it doesn't? What if it fucking doesn't? It was all over. Surrounded on all sides, and nowhere to go. But I just couldn't figure it out, no matter how much I thought about it. Why were they here? Was it Takano-san? There was only one person who could have made the connection between me and this place. Shit, I knew it. She deserved to die. Bam. Ueshi kicked me in the back, which took me by surprise, sending me flying into the mud. God, I love Ueshi. He's such an awesome, cool guy. Ueshi kicked some mud into my face. Awesome. What a cool guy. What an awesome guy. I love cops, actually. Yeah. The men around him didn't react, not knowing quite whether they should laugh, but when Ueshi glared at them, they started mumbling out pained chuckles. Just who was this guy? I knew the world had changed after that night, but if I went even further back, didn't it start when this guy showed up? That was when our peaceful days had been taken from us. Ever since he showed up in Yamizawa, things had been odd. Or Yashiro-sama's messenger, huh? Everyone stopped smiling, and the world went crazy. The ground under my feet gradually got harder and heavier. At this point, even I started to think something was odd. I hadn't buried him this deep on that night, had I? My exhaustion peaked, and I sat down on the spot. Nothing there. There's nothing there. There's nothing. It's gone. There's nothing there.
What?
Ueshi's gesture. The men all pulled out their own sinister-looking shovels. Sinister-looking shovels? Okay. It's like what they got, like spikes on them. Like. As I watched a daze, one of them grabbed my collar, dragged me out of the hole, and threw me to the ground. The rest of the men stepped into the hole I dug and started shoveling themselves. As I stared at them, dumbfounded, Ueshi sauntered over and squatted down to look at me directly.
Maebara Keiichi-san, あなたの趣味は雨の夜には穴掘りです。
Yeah, but it's the family business. When I didn't respond, Ueshi took out one of the 10 buckets they were using to bail out the muddy water, scooped up some of it, and splashed the whole thing on my face. Awesome. Why not?
今日は大雨ですから、これ以上いくら濡れても全然わかりませんね。
Ueshi smiled to himself and scooped up another bucket full of muddy water.
もう一回聞きますよ。あなたの趣味は
Yes, I love doing it. I love digging holes on rainy nights. It's my favorite thing to do, Ueshi. God, I fucking hate him. Splash. Ueshi hit me with another bucket full of muddy water. The pebbles in it stung.
あの穴を掘ると
No, there's nothing there.
何が出てくるんですかね。私、花坂じいさんのここ掘れワンワンってのが昔から憧れでしてね。
As he spoke, he ran the bucket through the muddy water again. Just splashed it in my face again.
あそこにどんな宝物が
$1,000,000
入ってるんですかね。
Yashiro-sama is buried down there.
私に ちょっとだけでも
Yo Mama is down there, actually, Oishi. If you want to know, then dig on your own time. You fucking pig, literally. I wasn't saying that out loud, but Oishi mercilessly drenched me in the muddy water again anyway. I hope there's nothing down there, and I hope Keiichi gets a lawyer, and we get Oishi fired and thrown in prison. Shit, shit, shit. I hope that's what the rest of the chapter's about. If only you hadn't shown up, the world wouldn't have gone wrong. Ever since you showed up, things have been strange. Satoko got abused by her uncle. I ended up killing him, and the world went crazy. He was how it all began, because of this culprit. He splashed another bucket of mud in my face. My insides were seething with anger. Die. You die too. If I have some strange power to kill someone by cursing them, like with Takano-san, then you're dead. And it won't be Orishiro-sama's curse, it'll be mine. I'll curse you and kill you.
反抗的な目つきですね。これを機に少しそのあたりをお勉強してしまいましょうか。今は平和な時代ですがね。私があなたくらいだった。
Shut up, shut up, shut up. Fuck off, shut up.
何でも鉄拳制裁が普通でして。
おいさ。
One of the digging men in raincoats wiped some sweat off and called Uishi over. Uishi tossed the bucket away, then turned around with an evil grin on his face.
はいはい、何でしょうか。
これを見てください。
Acceptance, or maybe resignation. I wanted to say to them, so you blockheads finally found it. Yeah, that's right, I'm the one who killed him. But you're the police, so it's your own job to figure out who he is, right? Come on, prove to me that he's really Satoko's uncle.
何ですかこりゃ。
多分古い排水管ではないかと。あそこの用水路に繋がっているようです。
ぶっ壊しちゃいましょうか。
Okay.
どうせ使ってない缶でしょ。
The men all exchanged glances, then hesitantly broached another topic.
おいさ。もうかなり手応えが高いです。これより深くってことはありえないと思います。
Oh, fuck.
掘る場所を間違えました。
いえ、初めのうちは明らかに掘り返す感触でした。ですが、このくらいを掘った頃から急に硬くなりまして。
Would Takano have come here and like hidden the body or something? Is that possible? Of course, I mean, I guess anything's possible, but because Takano wouldn't want them to solve it, right? Like, I feel like that's like a Takano thing, right? Like,
多分、もともと掘った穴よりも深く掘り進んだ。
like if Takano, like, what I mean by that is like if Takano is doing some weird shit about Hinamizawa, reliving the lore, whatever, I don't fucking know. Her not wanting the crime to be solved makes sense to me. But I mean, that's just a wild, like, I don't fucking know, right?
じゃあ、つまり何ですか。ここには穴があって。
Yeah, it's his hobby. He loves digging holes for fun. God, Oishi's fucking stupid. He doesn't get it. He's not a hole digger. Like,
そうおっしゃるわけで。
what? What were they talking about?
こりゃ参ったな。ねえ、前原さん。
Oishi grabbed my collar and dragged me to the huge hole they dug. The mud inside was like an ocean, and I couldn't see any drain pipe down there. Please don't confess, Keiichi. One of the men stirred it with a shovel, letting me hear it clang against something hard, because they can still fucking arrest him if he admits to killing them, even if they don't have the body. There's no doubt I'd buried him right there. But I hadn't buried him this deep. I didn't dig deep enough to unearth an entire drain pipe. So, then, this man, his corpse, where was it? Proof that I'd been successful on that night was gone. Gone. Then what on earth was I? Was I actually crazy after all? Just possessed by the delusion that I killed someone? I don't think so. That couldn't be. It was an unmistakable truth. It couldn't have been a hallucination. But now, the most important evidence that it hadn't been an illusion was gone. I killed him. I buried him. I had absolute unwavering confidence in that fact. Then, did I fail to kill him? After I left here, had he started breathing again, crawled out, and gone back to Satoko's house? Was that it? I hadn't come here to see whether he had a tattoo or not. And yet, the truth I unearthed was far more than that. Yesterday, what was I? I killed him. I buried him. There was no doubt. But for some reason, he lived and crawled back out. I don't know. I have nothing to say. I have no fucking... I don't know what to say at all. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, God. And that was impossible, too. I'm so tired of hearing the word impossible over and over. I get it. Dead people don't like to play by the rules here in Inamizawa. Then, I'll kill you as many times as I need to. I'll keep killing you until you never show your face to Satoko again. Uishi and the others were muttering to each other. Eventually, the conversation ended, and Uishi came towards me. What did he want to say? What did he want to do? I stiffened, tensing up. And then, Uishi just ignored me like I wasn't even there, and passed right by me. The other men too. They ignored me and shuffled away. Eventually, there was no longer a sign that anyone was around, and I returned to my quiet world of silhouettes. The only one left there was me. Only the sound of the pouring rain filled up the silence. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What are we doing here? What? Who is Risa? Okay. Like, I guess. Like, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I have no idea. I have nothing more to say. Like, I don't know. Weird timeline shit. That's all I can think. But that's just such a weird, like, how is that ever going to be explained? You know what I mean? How is that ever going to be? Unless Keiichi really did kill him. Either weird timeline shit or Keiichi really did kill him, someone hid the body, Mion and Rena know what's going on and they're covering for him. And then Irie would too. I feel like that, logically I want to say all of that, it makes more sense in it being weird timeline shit, because weird timeline shit, that's just like a cop-out. You can do anything with weird timeline shit, you know what I mean? So... But weird timeline shit does exist in the story. That's kind of the premise of every fucking chapter, so... But no, but like what? So, Takano knew that Keiichi killed someone there, right? Let's say that happened, right? Takano was watching from the bushes, right? She, with some reason doing something, went back and hid the body, dug it up, hid it somewhere, threw it in the swamp or something. Mion and Rena know what happens. And because they knew that Keiichi, based off the phone call that he had with Mion and Rena also knew that he was going crazy already, based off a few chapters ago when he was acting like a lunatic in the classroom. So they knew he was gonna kill Tepe, and they knew he did it. And Dr. Irie knows too, because he's the one with the syringe stuff. I think he's the reason why Mion and Rena know anything. So they're covering for him because they don't want something to happen to him, I guess, right? I mean, even then, it's like, even if he did kill them under the guise of the curse, like, this is the curse, right? The idea is that he would still disappear, he would still be onikachi'd, and, like, they probably have some kind of interest in preventing that from happening too, even beyond it just being Keiichi. No, there's potential explanations for all of this that isn't just weird, crazy, nonsense timeline stuff, right? That I can imagine being true. And I can imagine motivations for it too, so, like, I guess, right? It's so hard to, like, nail down, like, what I concretely think is really going on, but there's just a whole bunch of intersecting things that you could say come together to, like, make it vaguely make sense. Like, an explanation that I can imagine makes sense, right? Because they knew Keiichi did this, right? Like, I think Mion and Rena knew Keiichi did this. And they don't want him. I don't know, the same reason in Onikachi. With the syringe. Whatever they're doing with the syringe. Whatever, let's just read the tips, and I don't know. Inquiry request. Okonomiya Police Station Command Center transmission recording. June 20th, 8:08 p.m.
こちら沖宮 PS 感度良好です。
Is that the motorcycle?
副将、獅子骨、歯の4344。少々お時間もらえますが、
Did they find it in the swamp? Number match. Shishibone H-4344. Owner. Is Tepe Hojo fit in there? Address. Something. Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. Vehicle make and model. Something. Theft reports. None. Special mentions. Nothing of note.
沖宮 PS より大石社どうぞ。先ほどのナンバーが判明しました。大石社どうぞ。大石社、応答願います。
Ooh, okay.
あれ？大石社、応答願い。 出ませんね。
Interesting.
大石さんが車両紹介？誰の車だよ。
村人の車ですね。至って平凡な。
Not the motorcycle. Takano's car?
何者だよ。大石さんが聞いてくるからにはただものじゃないんだろ。
突起事項欄は完全に空欄ですね。S 号指定もなし。減点もなしだし。
パッシングでもされて腹が立ったんじゃないの？あの人。
But imagine it being Takano, that's for sure. So then, I mean, that could be part of, like, let's say Oishi saw Keiichi and Takano meeting up, watching from the bushes. I don't know. Okay, sure, no. Okay. Has to be Takano, it has to be, right? He said it smelled. He said the food smelled. He said it smelled because oh, fuck. He said I smelled because I don't take baths. He said I had to take a bath 3 times a day because I was a smelly person. He said I had to stay in the bath for a long time every time. He must be possessed by something too. This is the same thing the man who died said. Why does he know what that man said before? What? It's the same thing the man who died said. That much is obvious. The same thing that possessed that man is now possessing him. Can't a sudden earthquake make a big hole in front of the house? If it did, he would definitely go and take a look into it. And then I just have to push him in. I won't give in until I get that chance. I won't give in, I won't cry. I won't give in, I won't cry. Ah, someone is apologizing again. What the fuck? What the fuck? Okay. What? Huh? Excuse what? Okay. Right. Was that Satoko? That certainly seemed like Satoko at first, right? Someone apologizing again. What does that make you think of, right? The thing that makes you go crazy. Keiichi. And Onikashi. Rena as well. And like, you want to say that's from Satoko's, like, POV. Obviously, right? The stuff about not crying, not giving in. I don't know. But then, of course, if that is her, right, that would make you think that Satoko is also being affected by the shit that makes you go crazy. Which is a possibility. She certainly, if there is some kind of emotional requirement for it, she certainly passes that bar, that's for sure. Okay, I don't know. This was the most insane chapter of this game ever, so that's good. Alright, well, we got it all figured out, I guess. How many chapters are there? I thought there were only 12 normally, but I didn't get the achievement for reading all the tips. So are there going to be more tips? Is there going to be more than 12 chapters? I thought there were only 12 chapters in the last one. I don't remember. I don't know. Okay. Well, thanks for watching. That was a rough one. Insane. Crazy. I don't know. I really gotta think about stuff. That's for sure. Subscribe, please, if you enjoy my videos. Leave a comment, tell me what you think. And I will see you in the next one.